Hey, loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, guys, I got a little bit of time this afternoon to kind of discuss some of this stuff. I do want to work a little bit later on today. So I wanted to just put some time into this and just kind of discuss my thoughts on the binary code conversation that he had with us as well as the beef sector the other day. Most of us that were on the panel were from our sector, which is the sector. However, he did have some people from the beef sector over there to kind of have these discussions as well. But I definitely think it is high time to just kind of, give a little bit of commentary in regards to this and even a blast from the past in regards to the binary thing. I do know that Binary would like to discuss this with his members, behind a paywall, which I think is only fair, right? I can only he can give his side of the story in regards to what has happened to him. But I definitely wanted to talk about it because I find it funny that, I'll say this. I had a conversation and at first I felt some kind of way about the video, but then after the conversation, I felt a little bit better about it. But now I'm not so sure, okay? Just after listening in on him and MBK's conversation this morning, I'm kind of back to where I was with this situation with Binary. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I was feeling the other day and exactly what I'm feeling now. Okay. And, I do feel like there is a bit of a setup going on here. And I do want to talk about that this afternoon. I also want to talk a little bit about universal healthcare versus traditional healthcare that we've seen here in the U.S. Shout out to Carrie Ann. She has been out in the beef sector talking about this, kind of battling about this situation. And, I do want to give my thoughts on that. I also wanted to give some information that I actually looked up regarding universal health care, and just kind of talk about those things now. Okay, maybe we can break some of those things down. If anybody wants to hit the link, you guys are welcome to do that. So I will drop the link early and I will pin that to the top. That way, if you guys do want to come in on the discussion, you are absolutely welcome to do that. The only thing that I do request is that if you do want to hit the link, that you have something to contribute to the conversation, as well as you will stick to the topics at hand. We are only discussing Binary and the AFWs, as well as some things from his past regarding them. And whether or not it looks like he's trying to set up the beef sector. And we are also going to talk about universal health care versus Medicare and Medicaid. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this right now. Make sure you guys do hit the like button on the way in. And let's go ahead and get started, guys. We are going to play a quick timer, and then we are going to get right into these hot topics today. I hope everybody's work week is starting off as great as mine is. I did a little bit of work this morning, and then I have some time this afternoon to kind of talk to you guys. And then I'm going to do a little bit more work this afternoon because this week is the 4th of July week. It is my granddaughter's first 4th of July experience. So, of course, we don't really celebrate the 4th of July in our family. However, we do barbecue and try to get together and have some things going on amongst the family because everybody just kind of has a universal day off, right? So, on that day, it will be the first time that my granddaughter will have this elaborate barbecue with the entire family there, and it's going to be great. So I'm really enjoying and looking forward to that. I do understand it's supposed to rain on Thursday around here, but we're still going to grill. I have a gas grill. So we're still going to grill and do our thing. You know, people up here, shit, we'll grill in the winter, okay? We don't care. We will grill in the snow, okay? I mean, I remember doing stuff like that, okay? When we had Super Bowls and stuff like that, you know, this is stuff that we do. So grilling is not really a big deal, you know, in the rain, but, you know, we can always have the family inside. So really looking forward to this Thursday and the family time and the memories that we'll be making. And hopefully you guys will be making some good memories with friends or family as well. I appreciate everybody that is in the building. Make sure you guys do hit the like button on the way in. Riz Lyricist, I appreciate you for being in the building today. Too Big for Skinny Jeans, I appreciate you as well. You said LOL. I told them they better not believe Binary and his bullshit. Okay, Shaw, we're going to get into all of that today. And I'm telling y'all, I got a lot to say, okay? And, you know, we're just going to get into it. Redbone, I definitely appreciate you for being in the building, sis. And Miss Stangs, I appreciate you for being in the building as well. Again, the link is there and right there. I'm going to pin it when I get a second. Hey, Lady Snoop, I appreciate you for being in the building as well. Let me go ahead and get in here so I can try to pin this for you guys because I do want you guys, if you do want to hit the link, you definitely can get in on the conversation because I'm going to be talking a little bit of politics, and then I'm also going to be talking about binary code and the Code Fam and their connection to this AFW-ish and, you know, all the bullshit going on with them. Hold on one second, guys. We got a guest. Hey, Happy Life. What's happening?
What's happening? What's happening, T Pre?
Oh, I'm chilling. I'm chilling. What's going on with you?
Man, I gotta say, I love the way you and Raw B, y'all kind of like twin sisters, right? So
Mhm.
there's a T Pre in the B sector, and there's a Raw B in the sector. So
Okay.
y'all kind of similar.
Okay, that's actually a compliment. I take that as a compliment. I love me some
Yeah.
Raw B. I've known her around to be around for many years. You know, in various sectors. Where I met her was in the T sector, which is adjacent to the beef sector. You know, a lot of people that came from that are in the T sector have been part of the beef sector at some point. And so, yeah, I really do fuck with her. So I think that's a great thing. But thank you for that. But what's been
And
going on?
then and then also too, and then I got a question. So also the fact that y'all both don't play around and y'all old fashioned, y'all like to handle business, y'all don't want to play around, and you also get people out of there if they try to troll you too. So that's what I picked up on.
Okay. Yeah, we
And then
definitely do that. We don't play around with that kind of shit. You know, we can go toe to toe and blow to blow with you, you know, but you know, we move on, you know, and I think that's important for everybody. But anyway, I do want to get into the commentary. Did you want to stay up here while I talk about this, or did you want
oh
to?
yeah, I had one last question for you, then I'm gonna drop.
Okay.
Um Do you think binary codes is gonna be accepted to the B sector, or do you think that the B sector already caught on with him and they ain't going for the shit?
So the beef sector is such a vast majority, a huge place, right? That I don't think binary has even began to touch even 5% of what the beef sector really is and what the beef sector stands for. Um, so I can't say he's going to just automatically be accepted by the beef sector, right? I think that there are some people that will fuck with him and that like him, but you know, I don't know. You know, some people are going to fuck with people regardless of what's going on because it's the internet, right? A lot of people don't feel like if something doesn't necessarily affect them, then it really doesn't matter what they're doing with other people. So I do think that he will carry a core audience of people that will continue to fuck with him regardless. But as far as the beef sector as a whole, no, I don't think that the beef sector is gonna accept a lot of this bullshit, especially after really realizing, kind of the play that he's making. Okay, so yeah, I don't think so. And that's just my raw.
Well, God damn. You just broke that shit down. So one really last question, and then I'm really gonna drop down because I know you got a show to run, and I don't want to do well and then get a cash out, and then I get dropped. So,
No, you good. Good. Go ahead.
so what do y'all think of binary and y'all sector? Because y'all got a really good sector going on, and I don't want binary to ruin it.
Okay, well, I will definitely be getting into that today in my commentary on him. So if you want to hold off for a second, I will be getting into that commentary in just a few minutes.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. I gotta go now. So,
No problem, Happy Life. Thank you for coming up. Okay, I'll see you in just a few. You can come up later on if you want to for commentary. Okay, so let me get back into the comments real quick. Divine Seven, I appreciate you for being in the building. You said, "Hey, Miss T. Pre, he's setting up something, all right, child," and we are going to get into that. You said the changing of sector history is wild, but folks remember, and folks have evidence of it. Okay, so we're definitely going to talk about this sector history changes that are attempting to be played upon the beef sector and the black sector, and we're going to get into that in just a second. What's up? What's up, P? I definitely appreciate you for being in the building. Miss Thang says, binary been telling people I'm considered the bottom of the barrel of the sector. Yeah, I don't know. I guess binary, he loves to paint certain pictures of certain people, especially people that can, be extremely vocal about his behavior and, their behavior and, kind of the interconnections amongst them, and how weird and strange it all appears to be, and how it's all a damn scheme. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, he wants certain people to believe certain things, but people have their faves and people that they don't fuck with, right? And you just happen to be one of those people he don't like, and he loves to paint a picture that if he doesn't like somebody, everybody feels that way too. And no, it's just him. Okay, and Star, right? You said I can set the comparison to Raw B. Okay. You said I can see the comparison to Raw B. Brixton, I appreciate you for being in the building. You said you both are good at visual art and using facts to tell a good story. That's what's up. And she definitely does do that, and I attempt to do that as well. So thank y'all for those compliments. I do appreciate that. You said, hey to Miss T. Pre in chat. I appreciate you, Brixton, for being in the building as well. Steph Collins, I appreciate you, sis, for being in the building as well. And you said phone died. I'm back. Okay, no problem. And you said, hey to Miss Thangs. You said, hey to Stephanie and Happy Life. You said, oh no, Miss Thangs, why does binary do that? Child, we're going to get into it in just a second. You said, wait, is y'all sector still beefing? I'm not trying to get caught in the crossfire. So I'm most definitely not beefing with anybody in the beef sector. I don't see anybody over here in our sector beefing with anybody in the beef sector. Other than Shakim is always going back and forth with somebody over in the beef sector. But other than that, no, we're not beefing. I don't really see where we're beefing. So, that's just kind of how that went. But yeah, people said what they had to say in regards to Brianna the other day, but it wasn't really a beef, so. You said, I've had a conspiracy theory for a while. I've shared it, and if I remember right. Okay. You said, I've shared it if I remember right. Okay. Make sure that you can share it here in the chat, and we can discuss it. You're welcome to hit the panel, whatever you'd like to do. You said, Happy Life, I came for binary before, and he never really forgives or tells the truth. That is a fact. And it's funny how you say that, because we're going to get into this whole forgiveness. Matter of fact, let me write that down. All right. So it's funny how you talk about that forgiveness from him and how that's, seems to be, on one side of the coin, lately and nowadays. But we're definitely going to, put a mirror to his face today. And that's just what that is. You said, hey, Lady Snoop, how was the BET experience? Oh, yeah, Lady Snoop, how was that? Let us know how that went. We definitely want to hear about that. I did see that Honest Rose seemed to have had a great time. He was at a VIP party that last night after the BT Awards, and really seemed to be having a really awesome time. So shout out to him. So happy that the experience that could have turned into a really sour experience definitely actually turned into a great experience. And he seemed to be having an excellent time. So shout out to him. YouTube cameras, I appreciate you for being in the building, sis. Definitely appreciate you. We are going to discuss a little bit of your video. I'm not going to play the video, of course. I don't think you even have it up anymore. And I actually wanted to discuss that too. Hold on. I want to put that down too. Because I believe there's a reason for that. And I think it's a good reason if I'm correct on what I'm thinking. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. You said, good to see you, Miss Thangs. You said mods in chat. You said happy and hosted the celebrity basketball game. Okay, that's what's up. You said, hey, the lady Snoop. Okay, so everybody's just saying hi to each other. You said definitely agrees, Miss Thangs. Hey, Ray Triggs, appreciate you for being in the building. Shout out to you. You said, okay, that's good. I like y'all over here. That's what's up. That's what's up. We like y'all too. We fuck with y'all in all these different sectors and things. You know, we enjoy y'all content. But we're definitely going to get into a lot of things today. He said, Lady Snoop, you hosted a celebrity basketball game. You famous, okay? Okay, so everybody's just kind of speaking to each other. I like to highlight you guys' comments so everybody just kind of knows. Sometimes I don't necessarily. Now, I want to tell you guys a fun fact about me. I'm not always reading the comment section, right? So I might come into your comment section and say hello, and I might miss if somebody is speaking to me. So usually I'm watching YouTube on my TV. I'll comment from my phone, but I'll turn the phone off or I'll put the phone to the side and I'll just watch it on the TV. And I like to put the comments up on the TV so that I know if somebody is trying to speak to me, right? But sometimes I miss it. So I try to highlight comments because I know other people do the same thing. And people might think you're just ignoring them in the comment section when really you're not. You're just, you're just not really watching the comments like that, right? But yeah, either way, that's why I try to do that. You said, Brixton, I hear you're my twin now, child. You said, Binary likes to troll for a living. That is a fact. And we're going to get into a lot of that today. You said, oh, shit, pre-Dragon Code fam. Let me drive to the store and get some pre-rolls. No. What's up, Slander? Don't get that CBD bullshit, okay? Don't get that CBD bullshit, okay? Everybody's saying hi to each other. Okay, I think I'm almost through these. He said, Ray Triggs, I forgot about that. Shout out to Smoke, LOL. He said he left me. I was too far, child. He said, oh, Lady Snoop, you have a channel. Yes, she does. If somebody can drop Lady Snoop's channel in the comment section, that would be great because, yes, she does have a channel. He said, I had a ball. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hold on, y'all. I don't even know who that was. All right. You said, hey, Slander, you're supposed to wait until the middle of the night and run to the gas station for those. You said, hey, Aboka, brother of a certain age, I appreciate you for being in the building. You said, Slander, put your seatbelt on. You said, happy. You said, I'm almost 30K subs. And after I go viral, I'm going to be at 1 million. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. Hey, Meow Meow, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, Carrie, you right. You said, what is your channel link, Lady Snoop? And so if somebody can put Lady Snoop's channel in here, I appreciate that. You said, Divine, I'm the best roller. Stop it. Okay. All right. So everybody just seems to be kind of talking to each other. D7, is it tea time? You said definitely tea time, child. Okay. All right. All right. So I think we're about ready here. You said, T-Pre, don't let codes destroy the sector. Oh, we would never let that shit happen, child. Okay. All right. And here is Lady Snoop's channel right here. Definitely appreciate you, brother of a certain age, for being in the building. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into the first topic that I actually want to talk about, which is universal health care, okay? Because I think it's important to have this conversation. Now, I was listening in on Carrie's conversation the other day. I listened to part of Ronnie Q's video the other day as well when they were discussing universal health care and discussing universal housing, okay? And I think one of the biggest myths about both of them is when Americans hear about universal health care and universal housing, anything universal to us automatically feels like oppression, okay? And that's because of our past. Basically, what we have seen in the past, especially Black Americans have seen in the past, like we've seen things like project housing, right? We've seen things where, the Medicare system or the Medicaid system has not primarily been effective to our communities, okay, as it has in the past. It may not be as least effective as it is now. There have been some changes to the Medicare and Medicaid system, but not many, right? The quality care that people are looking for is what we're concerned about, okay? And that's kind of based off of a capitalist attitude to me, okay? Just based off of the idea that the more you pay for something, the better in quality something should be, okay? I.e. an example of the restaurant industry, okay? In our country, people tend to tip our waiters, we tend to tip our waitresses and so forth and so on in hopes of good service, okay? The waiter and the waitresses tend to believe, even themselves, that it's okay for them to accept less than minimum wage from their employer and accept the rest of their funds from the actual customers, okay? When in actuality, the restaurant industry is literally getting away with highway robbery of their customers as well as their employees. If you go to other countries, right, where where these practices don't exist, but yet the restaurant industry is booming in these countries. If you go to these countries, these waiters and waitresses and other staff are paid properly for their services, okay? They are paid from their employers properly to serve and, to do what they need to do, on their job, okay? They actually feel offended if you hand them a tip or hand them extra money or leave money on the table. They feel like you're, in a sense, trying to buy them, right? Or buy their services. And in actuality, they're right, okay? That's what Americans do. We buy everything. We buy our services. If we buy our healthcare, we buy this, we buy that, we buy this, and we feel like the more money we shell out to something, the more quality it will be. In some cases, that may be the case, right? But that tends to keep us in this loop of, of this trickle down effect, right? Where, okay, the top tier are the ones that are making all the money, and everyone at the bottom is in hopes of receiving something, but yet they're constantly paying into the ones that are at the top, okay? And that's kind of what that's kind of what this is. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme, right? Where the person at the top, you're constantly trying to work into and put more money into this scheme, when in actuality, the only ones getting rich are the ones at the top, okay? So that's kind of how this situation is. And, and that's what we've always seen when it comes to America and how America works, right? When it comes to our housing and when it comes to our healthcare, we are paying for and trying to pay for quality care, as opposed to quality care already being in place, and money that our government, which we put tax money into, should be putting into healthcare, okay? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and some of the countries that actually do have universal health care. And I want you to compare some of the crime rates in these countries and, the drug, issues in these countries to our country. Now, I'm not talking about, certain countries, because there are countries that have quote unquote universal health care and they still have drug issues and major problems, right? And then there's also other countries that have universal health care and offer universal health care, and the crime rate is substantially lower than it is here, okay? And one of those places is Sweden, all right? So Sweden actually does offer universal health care. And, when it comes to crime, it's almost obsolete. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's not that, drugs don't happen and drugs aren't present and so forth and so on. But the presence of these things are not nearly as bad as they are in the US, okay? There's not nearly as much homelessness in these countries as it is in the US, okay? So Sweden is one, Switzerland is another place, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom. Now, we do have some people that are in here in the chat room that actually live in the UK, okay? And they can actually speak to this of whether or not the crime rate, just based off of, what they see on the news, from school shootings in the US, from, places like Kensington in Philadelphia, where, people are literally sleeping and falling over in the street, just high on drugs, from the homeless issues and from the drug issues in our country, various things going on like this, and not just in Philadelphia, but other cities within, the United States, how this kind of thing is really a problem. These things are almost unheard of in these countries, right? I remember having a conversation in regards to school shootings and with some people from the UK that were in the chat, and they were saying that they've never heard of a school shooting, from where they are. All right. Where we hear of one at least 2 or 3 a year, right? And that's just what we hear on the news. Everything else, just never gets talked about, right? Depending on who was affected by it. So, those are just some of the things that happen, not just the school shootings, but just the mass shootings altogether. Now, I'm not saying that these things never take place anywhere else, right? It does happen, but not nearly as much as it happens in the US. And again, this is based off of the business system that we are working on, this pyramid scheme kind of that the United States, the corporation of the United States kind of works off of. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit of the argument in regards to universal health care in the United States. And it was a healthy debate that was performed at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And I want to talk about this a little bit, and I will put a link to it. As a matter of fact, I'll put a link to this in the description now, so that if you guys want to take a look at it, you definitely can. And and you can follow along with this if you want to. I'm not going to share it. I just want to go ahead and read it. But I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to it, and then I'm going to give you the argument against universal health care, and then the argument for universal health care. Okay. So let's talk about the argument for, let's talk about the introduction of it, and then let's talk about then the rest of it, okay? But again, I want to keep in mind that the majority of us tend to think, when we think of universal health care, we automatically go to the idea of project-based housing when it comes to universal housing, such as the projects and living in the hood and that kind of thing. And then we also think of Medicare and Medicaid, right? Which again has traditionally had issues, right? Where, getting quality care has not always been a good thing. I do think there have been some improvements in that, but I don't think that we're done, right? And I think that is actually an introduction to how this can be done on a universal level. So let's go ahead and get into this first. So healthcare is one of the most significant social, and this is their introduction. Healthcare is one of the most significant socio-political topics in the U.S. The citizens currently rank healthcare as the most important issue when it comes to voting. The U.S. has historically utilized a mixed public-private approach to healthcare. In this approach, citizens or businesses can obtain health insurance from private, e.g. Blue Cross Blue Shield or Kaiser Permanente insurance companies, while individuals may also qualify for public, Medicaid, Medicare, Veterans Affairs, government-subsidized healthcare insurance. In contrast, the vast majority of post-industrial, westernized nations have used various approaches to provide entirely or largely governmentally subsidized universal healthcare to all citizens, regardless of socioeconomic status, employment status, or ability to pay. The World Health Organization defines universal healthcare as ensuring that all people have access to needed health services, including prevention, promotion, treatment, rehabilitation, and palliation of sufficient quality to be effective, while also ensuring that the use of these services does not expose the user to financial hardship. Importantly, the Obama-era passage of the Affordable Care Act sought to move the U.S. closer to universal health care by expanding health coverage for millions of Americans, e.g. via Medicaid expansion, launch of health insurance marketplaces for private coverage, including for citizens across income levels, age, race, and ethnicity. Differing versions of universal health care are possible. The United Kingdom's National Health Services can be considered a fairly traditional version of universal health care with few options for and minimal use of privatized care. On the other hand, European countries like Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Germany have utilized a blended system with substantial government and market-based components. For example, Germany uses a multi-payer healthcare system in which subsidized healthcare is widely available for low-income citizens, yet private options which provide the same quality and level of healthcare as subsidized option are also available for higher income individuals. Thus, universal healthcare does not necessarily preclude the role of private providers within the healthcare system, but rather ensures that equity and effectiveness of care at population and individual levels are a reference and expectation for the system as a whole. In line with this, versions of universal healthcare have been implemented by countries with diverse political backgrounds, e.g., not limited to traditionally socialist liberal countries, including with some very high degrees of economic freedom. Determining the degree to which a nation's healthcare is universal, quote unquote, is complex and is not a black and white issue. For example, government backing, public will, and basic financing structure, among many other factors, must be extensively considered. While an in-depth analysis of each of these factors is beyond the scope of this commentary, there are clear advantages and disadvantages to purely private, market-based, and governmental universal approaches to healthcare, as well as policies that lie somewhere in between. This opinion piece will highlight arguments for and against universal healthcare in the U.S., followed by the author's stance of the issue and concluding remarks. So I'm not going to get into all of the author's stance as well as the concluding remarks, but I do want to get into at least the argument for and the argument against universal healthcare. Let me take a sip of my water. Okay, so first of all, before we get into that, I do want to say that I do believe that there's so much that could be said in regards to all of this that it would take days, right, for us, probably months or even years, to talk about and to come down to actual policies. But that is really the importance of wanting to have debates, right? To be able to hear from other sides, to be able to hear opposing sides to your thoughts, right? To be able to get a difference of opinion from what you're saying. The purpose of that is so that you can create policy, which is what politics is, okay? It is exactly that, right? Policies, okay? So if you're going to discuss politics, you have to discuss policies, okay? Like that's just kind of what it is. There's no getting out of that. You know, talking politics is not talking about, whether, like Trump and Biden were doing the other day, where they were talking about who's a better golf player than the other, who talked less, who talked more, who was over talking who. That's not politics, right? Policies and creating effective policies for the people is what politics talk is and is what political debates are supposed to be, okay? So let's go ahead and get into this right quick. Okay, so the argument against universal healthcare, let's start with that. Though the majority of post-industrial westernized nations employ a universal healthcare model, few, if any, of these nations are as geographically large, populous, or ethnically, racially diverse as the U.S. Different regions in the U.S. are defined by distinct cultural identities. Citizens have unique religious and political values, and the populace spans the social economic spectrum. Moreover, heterogeneous climates and population densities confer different health needs and challenges across the U.S. Thus, critics of the universal healthcare in the U.S. argue that implementation would not be as feasible organizationally or financially as other developed nations. There is indeed argument or agreement that realization of universal healthcare in the U.S. would necessitate significant upfront costs. These costs would include those related to physical and technological infrastructure changes to the healthcare system, including at the government level, i.e. the federal, state, and local level, as well as the level of the provider, i.e. the hospital, outpatient clinic, pharmacies, etc. Ensuring treating a significant previously insured and largely unhealthy segment of the population and expansion of the range of services provided, e.g., dental, vision, and hearing services. The cost of a universal healthcare system would depend on its structure, benefit levels, and extent of coverage. However, most proposals would entail increased federal taxes, or at least, now I want y'all to hear that part. It says, however, most proposals would entail increased federal taxes, at least for higher earners. Okay. One proposal for universal health care recently pushed included options such as a 7.5% payroll tax plus a 4% income tax on all Americans, with higher income citizens subjected to higher taxes. However, outside projections suggest that these tax proposals would not be sufficient to fund this plan. In terms of the national economic toll, cost estimations of this proposal range from US $32 to 44 trillion across 10 years, while deficit estimations range from US 1.1 to 2.1 trillion per year. Okay. Now, this is coming from, I do have the resources to where these came from, and I would like you guys to pay attention to those resources if you get a chance to look at them, because you'd be surprised who is actually saying this stuff, okay? Now, beyond individual and federal costs, other common arguments against universal healthcare include the potential for general system efficiency, including lengthy wait times for patients and a hampering of medical entrepreneurship and innovation. Such critiques are not new, as exemplified by rhetoric surrounding the Clinton administration's Healthy Security Act, which was labeled as government meddling in medical care that would result in big government inefficiency. The ACA, or Clinton's administration Health Security Act, has been met with similar resistance and bombast, while the repeal and replace right-leaning rally cry as a result of perceived inefficiency and unwanted government involvement. As an example of lengthy wait times associated with universal coverage, in 2017, Canadians were on waiting lists for an estimated 1,040,791 procedures, and the median wait time for arthroplasty surgery was 20 to 52 weeks. Similarly, average waiting times for elective hospital-based care in the United Kingdom is 46 days, while some patients wait over a year. Increased wait times in the U.S. would likely occur, at least in short term, as a result of a steep rise in the number of primary and emergency care visits due to eliminating the financial barrier to seek care, as well as general wastefulness, inefficiency, and disorganization that is often associated with bureaucratic government-run agencies. Now, I want to give a little bit of commentary on that. So what I believe with this here is that this tends to speak to higher paid individuals who don't seem to want to trickle down this money into our federal system, right? If you're making, billions of dollars a year or millions of dollars a year, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a higher tax bracket that puts you in a place where you can actually pay more into systems like this, okay? Money like this definitely goes to, like, this 4% increase in taxes and this and that all over the place. I don't think it would make much of a difference, considering the fact that Americans are already paying a certain amount of taxes into the federal government anyway. We're also putting money into things, in other ways by paying higher prices in gas, milk, cigarettes, and stuff like that. When it comes to these wars, this is kind of where, a lot of this money trickles in from. Okay. So I really honestly don't think it would make much of a difference when it comes to taxes on, the taxes of Americans when it comes down to this. Okay. I think that these are just kind of fear tactics that the right wing tries to use to get us not to go into stuff like this. Okay. So that's just my thoughts on that. Now let's go into, excuse me. Let's go into the argument for universal health care. Now, universal health care in the U.S., which may or may not, which this is the argument for it, okay? Universal health care, hold on, guys. I think we have somebody coming up on the panel.
Hey, how you doing, girl?
What's going on, girl?
I see you up here cooking, okay? So I don't want to stop the flow.
No, you good.
I'm happy that you're sharing your thoughts on this, and I don't want to overtake the conversation. I want to let you give your, your point of view. However, I did see a really good point brought up in the chat that I wanted to address really quick. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
All right. So Living Life had brought up the fact that how over in the UK, the people on benefits, they don't really get help, and the government just keeps giving them money to do drugs, right? Which I think is a fair concern, and I just want to talk about that in what I consider to be a logical manner, because I feel like we're fed these dog whistles from the media. They kind of give us a way to think about things, whether we realize it or not. They influence our thinking in the way that we complain about like poor people getting something for nothing, but we never say that about rich people. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even work for that. They inherited that, right? Like everything got to be fair and down to the you earned it when it comes to the extremely poor, but not with the rich, right? So I wanted to bring up some facts just to put another spin on this, because it was still a good point to raise. So the average person in the UK receiving benefits is, so on the low end, if you're young, it's about £300, and on the high end, it's about £600, right?
If you live with your partner. Okay.
Right. I'm just going to go with the highest one, right? It looks like that's the highest. And this is according to gov.uk. So I'm guessing that's pretty reliable. But if I go over here and I ask, what is £617? Can you see? Am I projecting?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I put that over here, that's about $800 a month in US dollars. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Which some people might consider to be a lot, like, oh, we're paying these people to sit at home and do drugs, right? But
that's not a lot of money at all.
Well, the thing is, people often forget what it costs society for people to be doing drugs and not kind of having the government just pay them to sit peacefully in their house to do it. Because at the end of the day, I think people who are more sophisticated than that chat I tried to have over on, what's her name?
Ronnie Q.
Ronnie IQs. Like, I think most people can recognize that I'm not suggesting that every single person will stop doing drugs. So at the end of the day, if we instituted universal housing and healthcare, yes, at the end of the day, the state would be paying some people just to sit at home and do drugs, which is unfortunate, but it's no more immoral than like Donald Trump's kids or Joe Biden's kids sitting at home doing drugs. It's no different.
Right. I agree. Mm-hmm.
But one of the things people forget is the other costs. So yeah, you can be furious about this $800 a month, but you can also consider here, right, when you talk about what it costs. So here I have some statistics from prisonpolicy.org. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Yeah, so nationally, about 8% of the people in the country do drugs, right?
Which isn't a lot. I want to say that too. That's not a lot, right? So
it's probably a low estimate.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably a low estimate. And mind you, this is just for substance use, right? But obviously doing drugs makes you 5 times more likely to be incarcerated. If you look at the incarcerated population, 41% of those people do drugs, 5 times the national average. So these two are directly related. Now, if you look at this other page I pulled up, and again, like I said, I try to look at things in a logical way. I'm not always right, but even if some goofy bitch over in the B sector thinks she couldn't possibly learn anything from me, it's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous to just shut down somebody and refuse to hear them out because you think you're smarter than them, right? Like, that's not logical. So
I agree with you. And just to add to that, a lot of times us as black women, sometimes we don't think we think we've known so much or we've learned so much that we can't learn from one another, and almost feel insulted if someone is, telling you something that you didn't know, right? Just give it a second and just listen and hear somebody out. You just might learn something, right? So,
people tell on themselves, because when she was trying to justify playing an hour of MSNBC, she said she had to play it because her audience, a lot of black people, don't believe anything unless a white person says it. But just like with a lot of statements like that, she was really projecting.
Yeah.
Because she has no reason to believe I'm stupid and that I couldn't teach her anything. But she is the one who only believes shit she sees on MSNBC. But back to this, right? Because I don't want to start cooking.
Right. I don't want to get into that. Yeah.
So like half of the countries in the states, right, cost more than 50 grand a year to incarcerate a person. So I remember when I was on Ronnie IQ's panel, though, I had brought up taxing the rich, right, to justify how we would pay for this. She said, now you want to pay with taxes. And it's like, for some reason, she couldn't see why universal housing and universal health care were related to homelessness. She couldn't see how that was related to taxes. Like, these things, they're not separate issues.
They're definitely not. And it's very important for us to bring taxes into it, because that actually is, I believe, would be the key to it, right?
Right.
The same way that we use these same systems to pay into anything else, right? However, we need to be taxing the rich much stronger than we are taxing them. And that is the unfortunate part of why people come to the conclusion that universal health care would look like Medicaid to them, right? What we know as Medicaid, right? Or what we know as universal housing, right? To them, the idea of universal housing is living in the projects with JJ and them, right? You know, over in Chicago, that's what they think of, right? That's the first thing they think of, or they think
so we're talking about.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying we're talking about like $10,000 a year to feed people and house them, versus like $50,000 to imprison them. So I can bring up more statistics about what the drug crisis costs American taxpayers, like with the emergency room visits, right? With the shelters, with the, you know, all the other things we have to do. I believe you can make a strong argument that universal health care and housing would save us money, especially if we started taxing the rich. But it's like some Black people who sit around watching MSNBC all the time have been so effectively brainwashed that the only solutions they can have are the ones that are suggested on mainstream media, when that's not true. MSNBC is also a major corporation. They are not going to help you dismantle the corporate state.
Exactly. And I think that's important to look outside of, things like that, right? Because they're going to look out for their best interests, right? Just like Fox News is, we all kind of know Fox News is just kind of what Fox News is. Okay. They're going to be very biased in their commentary when it comes to politics and when it comes to taxes and anything. Right. So,
yeah, as you know, I often preach on my channel, and then I'm going to hop down. Americans have a very dangerous logical fallacy where they mistake choice for freedom. Right.
I was going to get into that. Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'll be quick then. Yeah. This idea that you can vote Democrat or Republican, or you can vote for, these different policies. Like if you as a people are not sitting down and creating your own policy initiatives, you're only going to be getting the choice between garbage and shit. And so if you want to consider yourself to be politically erudite, it's probably not smart to like treat your brothers and sisters in the proletariat like they're idiots who can't teach you anything, and then turn your goofy ass eyeballs over to corporate media for answers. Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Okay, thanks for having me up. I'm up now.
No problem, sis. I appreciate you coming up and sharing your thoughts on that. Let me get into y'all comments real quick, and then I'm going to go back to the other part of that, and then we're going to get into the conversation about binary. You said, Ray Triggs, YouTube won't let me greet you properly. YouTube is a vest hater. I'm always trying to say hello to that motherfucking Tiggs. Okay, and you said tipping is rooted in racism. I absolutely agree. And one of these days I might get a lot deeper into the whole tipping thing, and we'll get into that for sure. You said tip pooling is problematic too. The house skims so often. Yep, absolutely. You said, yeah, tip pooling is largely illegal, but it still happens. It does. What's up, LV? I appreciate you being in the building. And Slanda, I think I said hi to you already, but what's up if I didn't? You said Swede prisons are nicer than some people's housing there, but there are problems erupting there with Swede supremacy rising in popularity. Right, and these are political issues that I think every country has their own political matters, right? I think that there are some policies that they need to work on, but we can take and learn from each other's policies that tend to work. There are things that we vastly hold on to in the U.S. that just don't seem to work and haven't worked for centuries now, and we just want to hold on to it. because we have this, like Carrie was just saying, we have this sense of freedom, and not realizing, well, if I make a different choice, am I giving up my rights? Am I giving up my freedoms, right? By putting the word universal in something, it doesn't sound as free, okay? And that's particularly because of the fact that we have seen in a history of our country where the Medicaid and Medicare system have been a disadvantage to the more poor, have been a disadvantage to the Black community and brown communities, right? The public housing and housing subsidized housing systems have been a disadvantage to some of us, whereas some of us, it has had some good things. Okay, so I think that there is this false sense of if I allow universal housing per se, that will, or if I allow universal healthcare per se, that would turn into the loss of my freedom. Go ahead, Stephanie. What's happening?
Hey, can you hear me okay? Just I'm
Yep.
trying to make sure I don't have an echo.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I don't think anecdotal evidence is always the best, but I mean, I think it might be able to help kind of not clarify, but add a perspective to why things are the way they are in the United States with low levels of social service and a lot of places. I mean, low levels of social service in general, but then like the South particularly has low to poor levels of social services and very draconian standards you have to meet to get the assistance.
Mhm.
And it really is rooted in racism. And I saw this very much up front because I grew up in a all white, except for like a smattering of Black people who lived out far in the country and just happened to go to our school district because our school district was so big. But in the town itself, all white, right? Incredibly impoverished. By the time methamphetamine hit, we had a strong meth culture, low life expectancy, low resources. I looked at a picture of some people I went to high school with that somebody put on Facebook the other day. Half the people in the picture are dead. And a lot of the men went to prison and are also dead. And the ones who aren't dead, a lot of them went to prison. And it's a nightmare in that town. It's a nightmare, and there's a lot of drug addiction because of the misery index. You could say literally Jones, Oklahoma, born to lose. And I ended up going to another high school so I wouldn't fall into those traps. And it just seemed almost inevitable for most people. By the time a lot of the women were in their late 30s, they were grandmothers because we had such a high level of teenage pregnancy. You couldn't hardly get any more dire, any more like hopeless, really. As far as the white population would go, right? These people were actively voting against their interests. Not voting, but actively, the ones who did vote would vote against their interests. The ones who didn't were absolutely opposed to any kind of social service that would help them. And then the reality was, if you really, really, really push them to say why, would be because they didn't want Black people to get something they felt like Black people didn't deserve. They didn't even look at their own interests. They were saying like, we need to keep people, and at first it would come out in euphemisms, right? Like people who don't work, people who are on drugs, people who drop out of school. But if you push them on it, you're like, Black people. That would be the end result of it.
Yeah, it's
And
like these classes, right? Like these classes of people. So even if you're
Right.
poor white, you still feel like you're better than Black. So how dare you, how dare we put out such a system as universal health care, which would support these people who are lower and lesser than me. And that's been the issue with us, right? That we have that,
Right.
Our country has had this idea that, some are better and some are less, and the rich are better and the poor are less, but then the Black poors are even less. Even if the Blacks are rich, they're still less. You know what I mean? Like that's just this idea in our minds. And these are the things that we need to discuss in regards to policy changes, right?
Exactly.
This is how we're going to get things moving. by starting on the local level first, which I believe it starts on the local level, and then we work our way up into the federal, right? But it has to start locally,
Right. And what was so strange about it, I mean, it's not strange. It totally makes sense, right? But if you look at it like if somebody from another planet was looking down on this, it would make sense to them, right? Like a lot of people in my town were getting like social services, but they didn't recognize them as social services, right? Like 90% of the school kids had free lunch. That's a social service.
That's a social service.
Yep. Right, but they're not recognizing it as something because they deserve it. But any sort of expansion beyond what they already have would be going to people who don't deserve it.
Right.
And they just don't recognize that they're in the class of people that would benefit from it. And
they can't.
There's a reason I left that town.
Yeah. They can't get past the idea that all people, regardless of race or color or creed or religion, all people deserve good health care and all people deserve good housing, right?
Right.
That would be, that would eliminate at least 70% of the issues that we face here in the US. If everybody had adequate housing and adequate health care. But again, we can't get past the fact that, well, I work for this and I make that. And so, I shouldn't have to pay for you because everybody has the American dream and everybody can go out and get it, right? And everybody can,
And it's wild. For a lot of the people in my town, their main source of income, once, like 95, 94, 95, their main source of income was cooking and slinging dope. And to think that they would think that they're more deserving of stuff, they're not in that category of people that, they identify as because they have less, they don't deserve. We all have the same problem. Well, if you minimize it out, like as far as wealth and stuff, we all have the same problems. We would all benefit. And to think that you're better than people because you're, and you don't recognize that, like, you're also, like, you're more so in a criminalized class than, a lot of people that they're thinking are less than you.
Right. Well, let's think about it like this, because this is an even deeper issue, which I think I want to have with both you and Carrie in regards to the prison system and their connection to the drug system, everything going on with opioids and drugs and everything, right? Listen, the bottom line is this. The United States government knows that they make quite a bit of money off of these drugs. Okay, let's be honest.
The banks do too. The banks need that money.
Is a corporation in itself. The country is in itself a corporation that has corporations working within the corporation, okay, that are making money within the corporation, okay? Oh. And a lot of these corporations that are the pharmaceutical companies are making money off of these drugs that puts the money into the pockets of the American government, okay? That's just the bottom line. So regardless, they are never going to want to come to neither one of those candidates that we're talking about right now, Biden or Trump, are ever going to, and I don't know if we'll ever have a president per se that would want to discuss these kinds of things, because it's literally going to take trillions of dollars out of their pocket, okay, to put an end to these crises. Like you said, a lot of these people, you said 90% of the people in that town, they made their money off of selling drugs, right? I mean, this happens across the country in black towns and white towns, everywhere, right? But however, they're not turning necessarily a blind eye to this in the black communities, because then they turn around and put them in prison, which is another industry that the government makes money off of. So they're all got their hands in each other's pockets. Let's be real. Yeah. So the policies are going to have to start at the local level. We're going to have to put people in these, in the places in our local government seats who want to change policies locally, right? And get these policies changed, and then we can work our way up into the federal. But we got to do this on a local level first, is what I think.
And I don't think drug addiction and drug culture happens in isolation, right? It's definitely tied to populations that feel like they've been alienated from society, and that they don't have any hope. They don't have a future, and that is a very, very, when you have a microcosm like that, the drugs can run in. There's nothing to stop them. There's no reason why not to.
The problem is that some of the richer white folks whose children have been introduced to other kids, who are less than, have less than them, right? who may have experienced these kinds of things, they're fascinated by it. They're also fascinated by the music industry, who makes the drug culture look like it's glamorous, and so forth and so on. And they want to be part of the culture. So they get on these drugs too, right? And now they want to pass laws or make it look like they're passing laws. But if they get too far with it, they know that doing something about this, the sacrifice to them is less, when it comes to just simply allowing this kind of stuff to happen, right? Making it appear like they want to do something really, but they really don't, because they know damn well they're not trying to change policies. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the problem. That's the problem there. We keep putting the wrong people in there,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right.
And Texas, I'm sorry. I'll drop down. Yeah, I don't want to drill anything else, but Texas's approach to fentanyl problems, which I wonder, the statistics aren't as supportive of it being this wildfire crazy problem as and the overdose. It's a terrible thing, but they're not. It's not like people are just dropping dead left and right. I mean, the statistics is actually kind of and the problem may not be as bad as they are trying to make it. But the younger white kids who are overdosing on fentanyl, it's a tragedy. But they're also being depicted as just total complete victims, and the people who sold it to them, quote unquote, are now possibly being prosecuted for murder. Which, like, that's not going to fix anything. That's not going to fix a damn thing. It's just going to increase the number of people in prison.
Exactly. It's only going to increase their pockets, right? Because we literally have people in the private sector that own these prisons. Okay. And, like, this is all, they're all corporate. They're all corporations, right? Like I said, it's all corporations within one big corporation, Yeah.
So. And the banks need drug money. The banks need dope money. They collapse overnight if they didn't have dope money. Yeah.
How you think the mints are getting all this money? Okay. Where do you think they're getting it from? All right. Listen, I'm going to get into this because I probably am going to end up making a whole nother live stream just for this discussion alone, because I think the conversation about the prisons within Sweden and there's another country too. I want to say Greenland, or is it Iceland? It's one of them. I always get them mixed up. I think Greenland I always think is green, but it's actually ice there. And then Iceland is the ice, you know what I'm saying?
Anyway, no, for real.
I think it's in Iceland. So I want to talk about that too. And I know Carrie has some topics on that. So I'm probably going to put a panel together and we can actually discuss that at another time. Cool. But I think that's a really great conversation. And definitely something, that we can implement in regards to this too, because this is so important to understand how all of these little systems are all rooted within each other. And these are the things and the policies that the radical leftists, right, like Carrie and others, want to break these policies. This is what we need to do. That's all a radical leftist does. They're just simply the people that they want to break rules. They want to break policy. Okay. They want to change policies. Okay. Not so much break rules as an anarchist, but, and there are some extreme, radical people, that call themselves leftists, but really they're just anarchists, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about actually changing policies, okay, for the better. And sometimes you got to get radical to get it done, and that's just that. So,
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you for having me up.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Coming up. Okay. All right, so guys, I want to let me read the rest of your comments. I see there's a lot of comments in here, and then I'm going to get over to the rest of that commentary, and then we are definitely going to talk about our favorite troll, Binary Code. You said, Steph, my favorite white auntie. Okay. You said, I wonder if the rising racism in the Nordic countries will affect their criminal policies. You know what? Possibly, right? Just, all what's going on over there and some of the things happening, it really may. It really may. You said, Ray Triggs, what type time we on tonight? Yeah, I'd like to know, Triggs, too. We usually get a little excerpt of what's going to happen, but I haven't seen one yet. But maybe you put one up. I just didn't see it yet. What's up, RNT? Appreciate you being in the building. You said, our crackheads and druggies get housing and money to live on and pay their bills. The UK don't force them to work. They are signed off as sick rehab is available, but most won't go. And you know what? I think that was interesting in how even what Carrie was showing in regards to the statistics on that. Um, I'm glad that she put that in perspective, because it's not a lot of money that they're getting. Like $800 sounds like a lot, but it really isn't a lot of money. And you know, if they're getting housing for free, I get it, right? But I think that I would be inclined to believe, and I would like you to elaborate on this if you could, you or Brixton, or even I'm Nevaeh, or Pixie, or someone else that's there, or Divine. I'd be inclined to believe that these housing projects tend to be in low income areas or higher crime areas, not so much like the US, but still what you guys would believe or tend to believe is like a higher crime area. I would tend to believe that. What I think the difference is, and what we're discussing, is how universal healthcare and universal housing should be across the board. It shouldn't be somewhere where you know, it's only like limited to certain areas, right? There was a time in the US where project housing and stuff was limited to like redlined areas per se. However, nowadays they have the Section 8 housing choice voucher programs, and I'm gonna give you guys what it does. It gives the appearance that they're giving the housing choice holder a choice to live anywhere virtually in the US that they want to, including Puerto Rico, Hawaii, so forth and so on, right? However, what it does is it gives landlords the ability to apply for the housing choice voucher program and accept this person, you know, into the program, okay? But a lot of times, depending on where that house is located, depending on where that landlord owns, you know, where that property is, the value of that property, the value of the properties around them, and so forth and so on, they may not even want to even apply for such a thing. They would rather take someone who doesn't have Section 8, because in their minds, they go back to that stereotypical thought that most people in the US believe in regards to universal housing. They believe that universal housing automatically equates to low-income families, which automatically equates to crime, which automatically equates to fights, loud parties, drug use, and so forth and so on, which in some cases that is the case, because, you know, these places tend to be in redlined areas, right? Tend to be in areas where the economics are so bad that people are on drugs more. The crime rate is much higher, and so forth and so on. And so it gives the appearance that you are moving these, you know, people who aren't worthy, as Stephanie and I were just talking about, of coming out of this and coming into your neighborhood to quote unquote lower the value of the properties in that area, and so forth and so on. And so they don't even want to get involved. Okay. So it's actually difficult sometimes for people with housing choice voucher programs to actually find, you know, adequate housing. Now they might find it. And there are, you know, landlords that do work with such things. You know, they may purchase a house in decent areas and stuff like that, and then rent it to Section 8 families. But I can guarantee you, in most neighborhoods that are like gated communities and stuff like that, they're not renting to housing choice voucher people, okay? And that's just that. So I would tend to believe that if, you know, this is going on there, that the same thing is, you know, the same thing that's happening here is happening there as well. But this is where the conversation in regards to changing, you know, radical changes to policy is what comes in. So, you know, that's where I'm at with that. You said, Stephanie, right? In America, people think prison wouldn't be a deterrent if it were comfortable. But meanwhile, their society is way better in general. So prison is still a huge step down. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll definitely be having that conversation, guys. Definitely be having that. You said the British government actually gives them more money as they are signed off as sick. Okay. So like kind of like Social Security does here with people, because there are people that have drug and alcohol substance abuse issues that they consider that mental illness, right? And they will give them also Social Security benefits here too, which don't tend to be much. You said, Slander, good afternoon, nephew. Oh, wait, it's morning in Wyoming. You said, hey, brother. You said, hi, Ms. T. Pre. Appreciate you being in the building, living life. And you said, okay, and Slander, I didn't know that. You said it's ridiculous living life. Plus, I have no idea was like that over there either. You said, yes, Lana, they have no worries but drugs. That's sad. You said, I think it varies here state to state. We are very draconian with social service and assistance here. Yep. You said in Texas, yeah. You said living life. You said, does universal health care mean it's free for everyone? Yeah, so I wouldn't say free, right? Like so here's the thing, guys. Even Medicare and Medicaid is not free, okay? That we are paying taxes into our Medicare and Medicaid system. So we are still paying for Medicare and Medicaid, even though most Medicare and Medicaid patients may not, or some Medicare and Medicaid recipients are not necessarily working, right? They may not have to be paying into the pool, but the majority of Americans are actually paying into that pool already. So I don't think it would necessarily be free, but the tax bracket of who's paying into it, if it came from the rich and trickled down into it, and they had a higher payment that they would need to be paying, I don't think that would be impossible to do. I really don't. You said that is such a critical factor. You said Steph Collins, afternoon counselor. You said greetings, Oboka. You said, do y'all have free Narcan programs as well, living? That's a good question because we do here. You said, Oboka, good afternoon. And it's funny because they'd rather give out these programs and stuff like that than to eliminate it, right? And that's because it makes money for everybody all the way around the board. Whether even the funeral homes, the funeral companies, they flourish from it too. You said, I've never heard it said, which also pays taxes into the government. You said, it's overdose medicine living. Yep. You said, Narcan stops an overdose. You said, an overdose in progress. You said, Slander, I've just checked and I'm not sure if we do, but they get meds for the cravings. Okay. You said, gotcha. You said, living, it is free. You said, living life to the fullest. There is, but it's only given to recognized drug treatment services. Okay. What's up, Don? Appreciate you being in the building. You said, damn, I'm late. Hey, make a change. Appreciate you. You said, question. So code Umar boy. That's what they said. We'll get into code in just a minute. You said, thanks, Brixton. Probably called a different name. You said, living life and methadone cravings. I shouldn't laugh, but imagine having cravings for heroin. Child, it's really sad over here because they do. You said, you know what I mean? You said, Brixton, you know what I mean? You said, living, it's so horrible that people don't ride it out. You said, cravings. You said, yep, I think so. You said, Suboxone can change a person's life. You said, Steph Collins, I imagine it is. You said, OMG, another PowerPoint. Okay. And you said, why every time Miss Things speak, it comes with a damn PowerPoint, child? I like her PowerPoints because she actually comes to, give examples of things and really show and break some shit down. So some of us like her PowerPoints. You said, Lady Snoop, sometimes we go below the surface over here. We definitely do. Over here, we actually do research and we pull up shit. We go into like quantum research and shit like that over here. So those are kind of things we do. You said, no matter who it is, we are respectful to the panelists here. Please act with a minimal level of respect. Yes, please. You said you got to add rent to that as that's just the living allowance they get more. Okay. Which I wonder if a agency pays for it because oftentimes, like here in the U.S., in those cases, these people have like a Section 8 or a Section A type of program, and the public housing program is the one that actually pays the rent, and they pay it directly to the landlord. So I'm wondering if that's what happens over there. You said, and to be honest, those on substance must meet certain criteria. They don't just get benefits just like that. The same thing here, Divine Seven. You don't just have to just be on drugs and they just give you money. You have to be going through like programs and treatments. You have to be seen. You get regular drug tests. You also have the option of getting like methadone or something like that. But they're not just giving money. I don't know. I would tend to believe if that's what's going on, that's what's going on too. You said, damn, Lady Snoop and Miss Thang's beefing. I don't think they're beefing. You said what criteria they meet in Divine. You said, hello, you came up in my algorithm. I'm here. What's up, Lil Vegas? Is that Sheffy? I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you. You said Divine 7. Yeah, it's a strict criteria. I can't remember which party has it in their manifesto to reform PIP and universal credit applications. Okay. You said our system has been completely overhauled and has caused more issues than before. But overall, the NHS is something I won't give up and will continue to fight for it. Divine, I'd like you to do some commentary on that. Or, you can always come up and give your commentary in regards to that, because I'm interested in what you guys are talking about over there in Britain. You said they have to be very vulnerable and have some type of health issues if they want to get PIP allowance due to drug use. Okay. You said, Brixton, I believe all of them, but the Tories are the worst for it since 2010. You said, if you get your political talking point from the major news networks, you are misinformed because right or left, they are pushing their agenda. I absolutely agree with that. You said, Divine 7, yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's see what Thursday brings. Yeah. You said, Brixton, facts, but they don't have no criteria, no job search or anything. You said, Lady Snoop, would you prefer some other way to convey information? I'm happy to try to communicate with you in a way that meets your preference if you want to participate. You said, living life to the fullest. PIP has a 2-stage application form and interview assessment. The mobility and health issue is part of their criteria for qualifying applicant. Look it up. You said, Brixton, the government will never stop their money. Child, same shit over here. You said, Brixton, facts. You said, but they all on PIP, so drugs qualify them. I think you said qualify them. You said, Miss Thangs, well, the first mistake you're making is using multiple syllable words. You said, also, none of the things I shared included a PowerPoint, so I'm not sure what you think that means, but let me know what you need and I'll help. Politics is for everyone. And it is. And, there are ways of sharing our ideas and our thoughts. And like I said, I like the way that we break things down around here with most of us in the sector, outside of binary. But yeah, most of us in the sector, we actually break things down with actual facts. We will show you some things. We will show you evidence of what we're talking about, which is something I'm about to do in just a moment. We will give you actual facts so that give you the examples that you can go look up for yourself. And generally, our evidence comes from like quantum research. It comes from universities have researched this stuff, where, medical doctors or experts have come together to come up with ideas on these things. And then we discuss these things and break these things down. That's kind of another part of our sector that some of y'all may not know, right? It's not always about roasting and joking and gagging each other. We actually do have, real intelligent conversations around here, and we enjoy doing that. So you guys are welcome to come around and, hang out with us, when we're doing that, because we're not always dragging somebody. Sometimes we do drag and sometimes we don't, but, our conversations are not for everybody. And again, that's why our sector is small, right? And, why we kind of keep it that way. You said, damn Triggs. Easy. It's on Monday. Okay. It's only Monday. You said, translation, Lady Suit, let me talk to you. Let me talk. I'm happy to talk. Can we talk? You said, make a change. You said, I'm only here to help. Pastor Jay Wilson, I do appreciate you for being in the building as well. You said, Miss Thangs, did I do a bait and switch on you? And you said, no, Pastor, who said that? You said, Miss Thangs, we need a sector debate between you and Ronnie Q. LV, where you at? I think that would be an excellent debate. Yeah, LV, I think you should put that together to have a nice little debate between Carrie and between Ronnie Q. I think that would be really good. You said your friend Binary, by the way, I'm enjoying this chat. You said not your friend Binary. You said no one should be homeless, all this land space. I agree. I think that there's a lot of land space here and in Canada and in Mexico that's unused. And
let me read this one. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is for Triggs. I got 6 syllables for you. Binary is Machiavellian. Ooh.
Triggs like them syllables, girl. You like them syllables, child.
One more time. Machiavellian.
I gotta see what Triggs ends up saying. But let me get down here to these comments because I do want to get
Go
to
ahead.
the bottom of this. You said the last word was for Triggs. You said, I agree, they need rehab. You said, make a change. I would do it, but I think she's afraid of me. You said, I think that would be a really good debate, though. I do. You said, they are always selling something. You said, well, you said, white and wealthy have methadone clinics. I did not see that for the crack epidemic. Oh, poor Black people. I agree, which is why I think it's important for like policy changes to take place that would affect all of us, right? And even if it has to be something that doesn't necessarily look like it's just for Black people, because if we start talking like that, then we're never going to get anything done. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just not. But if it looks universal, then we're going to be affected too, right? And these are things that we can start actually taking advantage of, until they realize, like, oh shit, Black people are doing well. Okay. He says, Stephanie, imagine my heartbreak when I found out I'm not welcome at the Odin Festival. Child. You said, Brixton, the crackhead always qualified for PIP and other benefits. They all have legs and health issues. You said, Dr. Passa, that's true. The fact that people care about this crisis is something we can use to our benefit. It's not fair, but we have to play the hand we're dealt. I agree. I agree 100% with that. He said, Carrie didn't add the rent, which will qualify for, right. But I think that the part with the rent is similar to what we see here in the US. If somebody has an issue with drugs, as long as they qualify, or if they go through certain criteria, like go into rehab, staying in, within the parameters of the program, doing certain things, getting on the methadone, coming on a regular basis, going to counseling, going to groups and different things like that, they also can get that same type of housing. However, the government is not handing them the rent money. They're handing the rent money to the landlord. Okay. So I think that's kind of what's happening there too. Like,
well, and just to clarify, universal housing would not be dependent on sobriety, right? Like, exactly. You just get the housing. It doesn't matter if you're the worst piece of shit in the city. At the end of the day, it's cheaper. Like, this is what I came up to say too, and then I can be quiet.
Okay.
Because this addresses it. Oftentimes people, when you start talking about socialized or universal healthcare and housing, they talk about how much it costs. But in their imagination, they're comparing it to $0. Like, they're saying, what? We give them $800 a month, and they're comparing it to $0. But not providing the housing costs us many more $1,000 per month when we have to put them in prison. So it's important to remember that these the so many Black people being so vehemently opposed to these ideas that would be so helpful to so many Black people. It's no different than what Stephanie was talking about, where white people are voting against their own interests because they're scared Black people are going to get something. I think it hits Black people on the other end where we want to feel too proud for a handout, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I work. I don't want to be paying for these bums. Well, good and goddamn well, the majority of the people who would benefit from these programs are poor Black people.
Exactly.
Right. So, I mean, no, the majority will be poor white, but a bigger percentage of Black people, right, are being harmed by generational poverty.
Right.
But for whatever reason, these Black people who sit around watching MSNBC all the time can completely erase those people from their memory and just complain about the $800 a month. So I want to be clear that it can be proven over and over again that universal health care and housing would actually save the government money compared to our current system. And the moral outrage that some people express at the idea of somebody getting something for nothing can also be easily proven false, because if these people were really concerned with the immorality of sloth, right, of not working, they would want to tax the rich. Mm-hmm. Right? It wouldn't be fair that Donald Trump and his children and grandchildren and great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren are never going to have to work for anything, but our children will. Right. So it's just like a lot of this people, you see how, like, the way that woman Ronnie IQ reacted to me presenting the idea that wasn't part of her echo chamber's normal bullshit, right? It's that visceral anger and outrage. It is really that speech that Malcolm X gave about the house slave versus the field slave. You know, she's literally over there talking about our master's house is on fire. Our master's house is on fire. And it's like, ma'am, this system, you talking about you hope and pray people get off drugs. The government that you're so busy upholding, the system that you want to prop up of capitalism, makes a lot of its money from pushing these drugs on these people.
Right, absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, you should just be willing to like open your mind and at least hear somebody out besides MSNBC. And don't be telling me it's only your audience that doesn't believe things that come on NBC when everybody saw how you treated me.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Living Life, you're saying that they live in any area, but poorer areas have more crackheads. I wanna see from you too. If you can give us, or Brixton or Divine or anybody else that's over in the UK, if you guys can give me an idea of whether or not what she's saying is similar to what I said, where like with public housing, those tend to be in redlined areas, right? There's still redlining going on, whether people want to believe it or not.
Yeah, that's why it's important the legislation that's aimed at white people.
Right. Well, hold on. Let me finish this thought real quick.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So, a lot of these public housings are still in redline areas. However, some landlords will purchase or have properties in other areas that may not be redlined, right? But they're not as rich of an area as other places. If they had properties in these richer areas, they're more than likely not going to rent this property to someone who has a Section 8 housing choice voucher. Okay.
Yeah.
They would rent this to someone else. Okay. Who has more money or whatever the case may be, because in their minds and in their thought processes, they tend to believe that someone with a Section 8 is going to be a criminal, or somebody's selling drugs, or something's going on, somebody's on drugs, or something's happening. And that would bring their property taxes down. That would bring their property values down. It would bring the neighbors' property values down. And so they just don't want to get involved in it, right? But they'll just go ahead and they'll have other properties in other areas that aren't as, like the value of the properties aren't as high. So they might rent those houses out to someone in the housing choice. And it gives the appearance that, they're taking them out of the hood and they're, and that kind of thing. But that's not really the case. And I'm kind of wondering if that's what's going on there in the UK as well. That's just my thoughts on that. You said even if you add rent, it's cheaper than prison. Also, universal housing eliminates rent, unlike socialized housing like they have in the UK. Right. You said living, yeah. You said, Miss Thangs, aren't you so jealous you can't go to the gathering of honor of GD who tore out his own eye and crucified him? You said, a GD. You said, I agree, Carrie Ann. You said, Stephanie, yes, no sarcasm. Norse mythology is awesome. You said he tore out his eye to gain wisdom.
Sorry, we was on some side shit. Yeah, we was on some side shit.
Y'all know I'll be on that side shit with y'all. You said, Miss Thangs, I'm sick of people acting like your hair in its natural state look bad, thick and beautiful. Okay, like we're Black women. I don't know why we would be offended by our thick, beautiful, 4C hair. I don't understand that.
Well, the only person saying that is the one lying, trying to pay me as anti-Black. Like, imagine that, the irony.
Right. You said, sure, but the neo-Odinists are making the typical mistake of resurrecting an arcane religion. It's incorporating modern biases and often makes things less nuanced they might have had centuries ago. You said, basically, if our hair isn't straightened or braided, it's ugly. And a wig or straight hair means we want to be white, right? We've been hearing this type of shit for years, child. Mm-hmm. Fire Live, I appreciate that. Living Life. It's about to get even more hot in this bitch in just a moment. I don't know if you want to stay up here on the panel for that, but
no, I'm gonna hop down now. Thanks for having me up, sis.
Oh, no problem, girl. I appreciate you coming up. You said exactly. You said, Stephanie, it breaks pseudo Viking heart. You said it breaks my pseudo Viking heart. You said somebody got ordered by his YouTube mama to go live. Oh, child. You said they leave all that nuance regarding Odin out and just focus on Valhalla and traditional European values. You said, I've had Odinism in my lives. Interesting. Have a good day, y'all. No problem. And thanks for coming in, Petty Betty. I do appreciate that. You said you have. Okay. And then you said, it's not universal. There are some who aren't supremacists, but it's being adopted by racists. who are coding racism and superior tradition, European values and narratives. You said, me too, Divine. You said, my bad, spelling mistakes, no problem. You said, or I'm willing to admit I've listened to too much commentary on Midsummer. I'm sure I have some internal bias. You said, I appreciate our small sector. I do too. You said, I retract my derogatory statements about Odin. The supremacists aren't Odin's fault. You said, I don't think that would work. Okay. You said, although I am a monotheist and believe in YWH. And you said, what's up, Speak? You said, what binary Tupac now? You know what? I heard that shit last night. I'm going to get into that in just a second, y'all. Let me write that down because I got to be reminded of that shit. I think that's the first thing I want to talk about. Shout out to the Smoke God, though. But that shit was funny. All right, so all right, let's go ahead and finish this up. I think everybody's talking. Dora the Explorer, ho, what's happening, child? I appreciate you being in the building. You said Ronnie Q is full of shit, child. I don't know because I don't know her, so it just is what it is at this point. You said so would universal wages, AI and tech are taking many jobs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely come over more often so we can have these types of conversations. I appreciate you. And I do listen to your political commentary too. You said, look at Jay Wilson trying to move around the sectors. What's up, Jay Dunn? Appreciate you coming in the building today. You said most people would find work to supplement their incomes. Also, employers would treat their workers better when people can walk. Absolutely. You said, watch out for Bree. Okay. You said, Jake, get out my head. You said, living life. You said, not really over here as we have council housing associates, so they're not supposed to discriminate. Poorer areas see more addicts. So the same thing is here, right? They're also not supposed to discriminate, but there's loopholes in it, right? So again, like I said, they can purchase homes outside of like in richer areas, and also purchase homes in where the property values are not as high, and they would tend to rent more to someone in that area. However, the loophole is this: you wouldn't even be able, like they would say something like, because they can say this, like we don't accept Section 8 at this property, right? That doesn't mean that they wouldn't take your application. So they can take your application. They can consider your application. And they can consider, applying for the subsidized housing program. However, they would put all in the stipulations why they are not applying for the subsidized housing program or something like that. And people with Section 8 would tend to just look over that, and they would rather just go somewhere where they can get it. You know what I mean? As opposed to going through the whole fight into the system of trying to force this landlord to take them. Because in all actuality, the landlord doesn't have to take you, right? They can take your application, but they don't have to choose you. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the loopholes that they get through when it comes to that. But there are discrimination laws that protect Section 8 holders here too as well. You said to YouTube cameras. You said hi to Dora. You said fire live so far, Godmother. Thank you, Riz. I appreciate that. You said, Jake, we're here for it. You said hi, Passa. You said, thanks, Stephanie. I agree. You said Odin would have traveled everywhere to learn from everyone. I literally hate I can't play along. You said YouTube cameras and JD are here for the code commentary. Hey, Talented. I appreciate you being in the building. I think they are, which I'm actually about to get into it in just a second. You said agreed with universal wages and reason they are so important. You said yes, Talent. You said Pastor J out here preaching. You said what y'all mean binary is a passive aggressive Chinese? No. Y'all niggas is crazy. You said Houston passed a universal wage law, but our Supreme Court blocked it, Miss Thangs. Okay. You said T-Pre, I've been enjoying just listening while I work, but I had to give Jay Wilson a hard time. Okay, Jay Dunn, no problem. You said Riz, LOL. You said Stephanie, that's awful, but it's encouraging that it passed in the first place. Okay, let me just hurry up and get through this here. You said there are much better models than Section 8. It's important to be savvy about policy because the devil is in the details. If anybody, I know that Pastor Jay Wilson is in the chat. If Jay Dunn is in the chat as well, and Talented is in the chat. If you guys can put their links in the comment section, that way everybody can go over and subscribe to them if they have not. You said, yes, rich areas don't have crackheads living amongst them. That part of London is mostly private. Your point is accurate, Ms. T. Pre. Okay, I just wanted to see if it was similar, right? Because that's kind of what it is. Even though they can't just go out and blatantly say, oh, hell no, I would never, get with a person with Section 8, right? They can say something like, we don't qualify here at our business to rent to Section 8 people, right? They could say something like that. They could say something like, something along those lines. As long as it's something like that, it doesn't fall under discrimination. You know what I'm saying? But they will go into a place that has a lower property value and they will rent to them, even though it's not necessarily in the hood, right? And that's kind of how that goes. So, but either way, guys, let me finish up this little bit of this commentary in regards to the argument for universal health care and what they're saying in regards to that. And then we are going to get into the commentary on binary. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to get into the commentary on binary and whether or not he is actually trying to set up the beef sector. You guys share the show out. Get everybody over here so they can hear what the hell is going on, okay? Because we are going to take a blast into the past on this guy, okay? Now let's go ahead and finish this up real quick, and then we'll get right into that. Universal healthcare in the U.S., which may or may not include private market-based options, offers several noteworthy advantages compared to exclusive systems and inequitable access to quality care, including addressing the growing chronic disease crisis, mitigating the economic costs associated with said crisis, reducing the vast health disparities that exist between differing SES segments of the population, and increasing opportunities for preventive health initiatives. Perhaps the most striking advantage of a universal healthcare system in the U.S. is the potential to address the epidemic level of non-communicable chronic diseases such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity, all of which strain the national economy. The economic strain associated with an unhealthy population is particularly evident among low SES individuals. Having a low SES is associated with many unfavorable health determinants, including decreased access to and quality of health insurance, which impact health outcomes and life expectancies. Thus, the low SES segments of the population are in most need of accessible, quality health insurance, and economic strain results from the unhealthy and uninsured low SES. For example, diabetics with low SES have a greater mortality risk than diabetics with higher SES, and the uninsured diabetic population is responsible for 55% more emergency room visits each year than their insured diabetic counterparts. Like diabetes, hypertension, the leading risk factor for death worldwide, has a much higher prevalence among low SES populations. It is estimated that individuals with uncontrolled hypertension have more than US $2,000 greater annual healthcare costs than their non-motensive counterparts. Lastly, the incidence of obesity is also much greater among low SES populations. The cost of obesity in the U.S., when limited to lost productivity alone, have been projected to equate to US $66 billion annually. Accessible, affordable healthcare may enable earlier intervention to prevent or limit risk associated with non-communicable chronic diseases, improving the overall public health of the U.S. and decreasing the economic strain associated with an unhealthy low SES. Beyond providing insurance coverage for a substantial uninsured and largely unhealthy segment of the society, and thereby reducing disparities and unequal access to care among segments of the population, there is a great potential for universal healthcare models to embrace value-based care. Value-based care can be thought of as appropriate and affordable care, tackling wastes and integration of services and systems of care, hospital, primary, public, including preventative care that considers the long-term health and economy of a nation. In line with this, the ACA has worked in parallel with population-level health programs, such as the Healthy Peoples Initiative, by targeting modifiable determinants of health, including physical activity, obesity, and environmental quality, among others. Given that a universal health care plan would force the government to pay for costly care and treatments related to complications resulting from preventable, non-communicable chronic diseases, the government may be more incentivized to offer primary and prevention of chronic disease risk prior to the onset of irreversible complications and promote widespread prevention efforts across multiple societal domains. It is also worth acknowledging here that the national public health responses to the novel coronavirus 19 is a salient and striking contemporary example of a situation in which there continues to be a need to expeditiously coordinate multiple levels of policy, care, and prevention. I'm going to end that right there because I think it's very important to kind of let that part sink in. And I'm probably going to have a deeper conversation on the rest of what was said at another time, okay? But that right there is very striking and is still very present in the minds of the people, okay? Because, you know, we all kind of remember what was happening during COVID and, you know, how quickly the government and expeditiously the government began to change policies. The government implemented medical policies and various so forth and so on to get things done. Okay, so if something really needed to get done, if a crisis truly needed to be corrected, our government has the ability to do it. Okay, and they have the ability to switch around money to wherever they need to switch it to in order to get those things done. Okay, so I just wanted to make that very clear, and saying those things and then understanding, you know, where we come from and where we fall in line with those things. Okay, let me go ahead and check out you guys' comments real quick, and then again we will get right back into the comments. And here is Pastor Jay Wilson's channel. You guys go ahead and check that out. He said he doesn't need free promo. He says there are no friends on YouTube and refuse for others' links to be dropped in his chat. YouTube cameras, this is her channel right here. You say, yes, they say they don't rent to people on benefits or unemployed. Okay, yeah. And see, like, you know, people could say that's a form of discrimination, right? But in actuality, it really isn't. You know what I mean? It's a business, you know, and it is what it is. You said, thanks, Miss Stangs. You said Jay Dunn's channel right here. Okay, you said, Pastor, this is what it looks like to be supportive, sharing others' links, remembering their names. Yes, exactly, right? You said talent. You said the selfishness and unfriendly spirit is an interesting choice for a religious leader, okay? You said, my boy Happy Life, the serial killer. Okay, y'all. You said touch code is in the clouds throwing shurikens at the wall. Shuriken. Talking about, I want to be ninja. Shout out to Lemon. All right, let me go ahead and we're going to play a quick timer, y'all, because I'm going to grab another water, and then we are going to get into this commentary of whether or not I believe if binary is setting up the beef sector or not, okay? And we are going to talk about a blast from the past and some things that have come up in the past, and a video that I actually did not too long ago, but we're going to definitely talk about it today and bring up some things that have happened with binary in regards to the AFWs, okay? Now, I know that he wants to be very evasive with you guys about that. He wants to go behind the paywall and talk about this, you know, which really wouldn't prevent what's coming down the timeline, you know, what's coming down that down this train track, okay? It's not going to prevent that. So, you know, since it ain't, then I might as well go ahead and drive the caboose, okay? Let's go ahead and get into this right now because we got a lot to touch on, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. And I do have the link pinned if you guys want to come up and give your commentary on this as well. All right, guys. I hope everybody is refreshed and ready to go because we are about to get into this hot commentary of binary code and all his bullshit. Okay, because child, child, listen. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this shit, but I will start with first the conversation with Pills. I just want to touch on this last night. I was listening in just for a little bit, as much as I could stomach. And like one of our good sisters in the sector said, honey, I just can't. Okay. So yeah, I just turned that shit off and I went on about my married business. Okay. But yeah, I listened in a little bit and I did listen to Smoke, and there was a lot of stuff that Smoke said. And I will say this, okay. Everybody in the sector has their own story. Okay. Everybody has their own experiences with the AFWs. They have their own experiences with how that went for them and how things worked out for them. Okay. Some people like the AFWs because they literally were never really truly affected by them. Okay. And what they've seen as our sector is, and they don't really see much else. They tend to see the fights and the back and forths, and they don't really see anything else outside of that. So I'm not going to take that away from Smoke, right? Because that's what his experience has been here. And, that's where he's at. What I did laugh at is when Smoke was saying that he'd been here since Tupac died or some shit like that. And that shit made me crack the fuck up because I was like, what? I actually fell out the clouds. Like, what, bro? We ain't even been around that long. I don't even think YouTube been around that long. But okay, I got you, whatever. But either way, shout out to the Smoke guy. He know that's my bro. I'm always going to fuck with him regardless. So, it is what it is. But I just wanted to touch base on that because y'all was talking about that a little bit in the chat. So I thought that shit was funny. I didn't know if I heard him wrong or if he was saying since we've been talking about it. I don't recall our sector really talking about Tupac, but when he brought up the Tupac thing, I just lost it. Okay, child. I was laughing my ass off over that. So, but either way, shout out to the Smoke God. It is what it is, bro. We always gonna fuck with you, and you always gonna be part of the dysfunctional YouTube family called the sector. And that's just is what it is. Hey, VS Speaks Royally, definitely appreciate you for being in the building. You said time. You said you said you said yeah, bro. You said since Tupac assassination or JFK, laughing my ass off. What's up, Binary Code? I'm glad you in the building, cause child, we about to talk about you, okay? And when I'm up here, I hold no holds barred, okay? But I'm definitely gonna let you know what I was thinking in regards to all this, and in regards to, your commentary on the AFWs and whether or not it looks like it appears to me as if you are attempting to set up the beef sector. And I'm going to get very deep with you in regards to that. Now, here's my thing, right? I do also believe that, and I know you're here for it. I see you here for it. I know you ain't nothing scary about Binary. Now, I'm going to say that. There ain't nothing scary about him. Me and him have had some drawn out brawls with each other. Most of our brawls are, I'm on one side, he's on another side, and it appears like I'm the attorney for this person and he appears to be the attorney for the other side. And we just, kind of give our opposing views with one another. And we've been very good at doing that with each other without really fighting with each other per se. Okay, so I don't have a problem with Binary in any way. But I, personally, okay. But I do have a problem with the things that he was talking about. And the reason I don't have a problem with him personally is because he doesn't affect me personally. I don't know him in real life. We don't hang out with each other. We don't hang around the same people. So technically speaking, whatever he says and feels doesn't affect me. Okay. Really. So I'm not mad at him per se, but I definitely have some very opposing views and for very strong reasons. And I'm going to talk about those things today. Now, even though I agree with Binary and many others here on YouTube that there really are no real friends on YouTube, right? Now, I will say that people develop friendships outside of YouTube. Over time, you may develop a real friendship with someone or two outside of YouTube, right? But here on YouTube, if you keep a relationship primarily on YouTube, there really is no room for friendship, okay? And you just very well may end up on opposing sides to things, if you are expecting there to become a friendship or a friendship to develop or some kind of loyalty to develop amongst one another, okay? So, that's one thing I wanted to say. However, regardless of whether I am friends with someone or whether I am loyal to someone or not, okay, there's some things in life that if I saw or if I witnessed, I would be quick to tell you about it beforehand, right? Even if you are my worst enemy, I just might warn you about it before, something happens. Give you a prime example of something. If I'm watching somebody's house burn down, okay, if I see embers of a fire starting at somebody's house, okay, even if I hate this neighbor, I can't stand this person's dog is always shitting in my yard, their kids always throwing their balls in my yard and always hitting the ball with the windows, always hitting the windows with the ball, all this, like, I can see, me being angry at them, but I would never, ever actually physically watch them be in harm's way. Okay. That is not something that I would do. I would definitely warn the neighbors, okay, about this. Now, if the neighbor decided to come to the door and cuss me the fuck out and say, well, bitch, fuck you, we can fight the fire. I don't give a fuck what you feel about the fire, bitch, and kiss my ass, bitch, and all that other shit. Okay, well, bitch, if you want to burn up in the fire, don't say I didn't tell you about it. But I would most definitely tell them about it, okay? I would never purposely watch somebody run into the line of fire knowing that they are in danger, okay? And with that being said, we are going to talk about Binary's history with the AFWs, okay? Now, Binary has had a very colorful history with the AFWs, particularly anti-Afro Svengali, aka Andrea Stewart. Now, I am not doxing her. Her information is very public, and according to her own timeline, she is the one that actually doxed and put her information out here to Umar Johnson and gave her information to Umar Johnson that you were wrong, Binary, in what you said, and that she was not doxed by Umar Johnson, and that she gave him her information. Now, for those of you who don't believe me, I would like for y'all to go over and take a look at her timeline. If somebody in the chat can put a link to Anti-Afro's channel in the description box right now, so that everybody can go over as you're listening and go take a look at her timeline and see that that's what she actually said, okay? She did say this in the past couple of days after Binary's commentary. She wanted to make it very clear to the entire world that she never was doxxed by Umar Johnson, but that she gave Umar Johnson her information, okay? Now, the reason why I think that is very important to know is because Anti's entire argument to our sector has been that. As a matter of fact, she has put us, such as myself, D. Durrell, Flacco, TCTV, and some others, in the lines of being in this quote-unquote Goonie Goon gang with Umar Johnson, and how we as quote-unquote criminals in a criminal organization connected to Umar Johnson have attempted to dox her, harass her, put her in harm's way, and all of these things. This has been Anti-Afro's argument against the sector since at least 2020, okay? Now, for those of y'all who want to say you don't know, well, y'all don't know her page, okay. I know my mods don't want to put her shit in there. I guess I got to get up in here and do this shit. Anyway, but anyway, for those of you who have been around, you guys have been very aware of this, okay? And, what's going on with Anti and how she's, I'm not going to do it. But y'all go over to Anti-Afro's page, please, child, okay? And go check her out. And if y'all haven't, then I'll do it after the show, okay? Because I don't really want to get distracted right now. But either way, that has been her entire argument since the beginning of time with the sector and how the sector, the state of what the sector is now. That has been her argument this whole time, is she has been doxxed and harassed and disrespected and mistreated, and we've found her and we've done all these things to her. That has been her argument. But now, since Binary actually, substantiated that argument, which shout out to Binary, I appreciated you substantiating at least that part of the argument, that it was actually her, when he tried to say it was Umar that did it, in actuality, she changed it. And she was like, no, it was me. I doxed myself. I gave Umar all of my information, okay? Which basically puts every single thing that she has said about me, D. Durrell, TC, Flacco, and everybody else puts that smooth in the dirt because she is the one that gave us her information. So no, we're putting her name out as Andrea Stewart is something that she has done, okay? But either way, this is the problem with what is going on with Binary and Andrea Stewart, okay? Binary did put out some very weird and could be looked upon as racist statements in regards to her a few years ago. Talking about her looking like a monkey or a gorilla, I believe it was. It was something along those lines. But either way, we were all pretty offended by what he said, okay? And, you know, it can come off as, you know, racial epithets, right? Some people don't always look at things that way, especially if it's another Black person saying it. But there's a higher layer to it when it comes to Binary. It's the simple fact that Binary is married to a non-Black, and, you know, that he is half Asian himself. He's 75% Black, and he's always made that very clear to our sector since the beginning of time of the percentages of his race, okay? Where he always wanted it to be very clear to us that he has Asian heritage, okay? Whereas most people in our sector who are mixed just say they're Black, right? They don't go through these percentages of who's what and what's who. They're just Black people, right? Especially if you could flip on the camera and they look Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really, you know, a big deal to make it known that they have this Asian heritage. But okay, whatever, right? That's fine. You know, but he also, you know, made that very clear, and then has an Asian wife, okay? Has mostly been raised by his Asian family. And even as far as going back as, you know, trying to give all of us Black women in our sector a lesson on from Asian women, who he claimed was quantum research. But I cannot qualify quantum research as 200 Black women from a southern town in one part of the country, in one part of the world. That is not quantum research when it comes to the feelings, the needs, and the emotions of Black women, okay? And I also didn't get from this any references to any of the references like what we did earlier when I dropped the link to the actual references that I was coming up with, the quantum research that I was talking about earlier, okay? So the only person, there were multiple women in the sector that pushed back at this, but me and Binary actually went into kind of like a back and forth over this, okay? Where we were discussing this, and I had real problems with 3 Asian women trying to tell strong Black women, you know, how, you know, what this is like and why we would say we're strong Black women and so forth and so on. It was just so disrespectful. And one of the things that I said to him was, well, you know, Binary, would your Asian grandmother, right, who raised you and gave you most of your, you know, Asian heritage that you're aware of, what, you know, and your heritage, and made you so aware of your Asian heritage, but kind of left out your Black heritage, right? Would your grandmother be just as willing to listen to 3 Black women go and talk to 200 Korean women from one part of Korea, right? And just decide that whatever their experiences are, you know, it applies to every Korean woman. Now, keep in mind, we've got North Korea, right? And we've got South Korea, and those 2 lifestyles are extremely different, okay? So me in a conversation with a North Korean woman is not going to be the same as a conversation with a woman in South Korea, and it damn sure ain't going to be the same as a conversation with a woman that's Korean American, okay, that lives in Korea. So they all don't have the same mindsets. They all don't have the same, you know, thought processes and so on. But these are the things that he likes to, you know, call, you know, things that we should do. But he agreed with me. His grandmother would not be, you know, be interested in such a conversation, right? He said his wife might, but his grandmother and her mother, probably not. Okay. And I told him, yeah, and there's a reason for that. It's because it becomes stereotypical if I bring all the North Korean women, and I talk to 200 North Korean women, and think that everything that they are saying is the same experiences as every other Korean woman in the world, or, you know, has Korean blood, right, in the world. It's just, it's ignorant, it's disrespectful, and, you know, and I don't appreciate it. And it definitely gave me a different light on binary at that point. Okay. And so I've kind of put it in the back of my head, and we've moved on from that. Other things have happened with binary since then, particularly what we're about to talk about. But what really gets me is how he loves to surround himself with Black women. Okay. He loves to surround himself with Black women and then have discussions about Black issues. Okay. But yet does not live that lifestyle every day, does not live with a Black woman every day, right? The Black person in his family is his father, which is somebody that he's not even close to, okay? So, I'm not really sure, why he always wants to surround himself with Black women just to tear Black women down, is what it appears to be. Now, that might not be what he wants to say. That might not be what he's going to, paint the picture to be. But, if you look at the bigger picture of things, like, for instance, that particular conversation, right, where, he was talking about 200 Black women in one town, in one small portion of the world, right, and their experiences and how their experiences somehow equate to every Black woman's experience. That kind of ignorant behavior, and then to turn around today and watch him, have video after video after video after video every single morning about nothing but Black women, okay, and their issues and whatever they're talking about, or gay Black men, right, and their issues and whatever they're talking about. It's just strange to me that there's no other topics that he has. There's no other spaces that he would like to go to and do this type of research, right? And have these types of discussions and have these type of conversations, okay? Unless he's being condescending towards Black people. That's the way it appears. Now that I got that out of the way, the reason why it most definitely seems like he is setting up the beef sector is because of his own experiences with these people called the AFWs, mostly Andrea Stewart, okay? And we are actually going to get into a video that I did a couple of months ago reminding him of this behavior, okay? And reminding him, because what was going on at the time is when Carrie Ann and her job was being targeted by the AFWs, okay? Just simply because they don't like her, right? And there was another reason she had given, and it was because, and I'm gonna go over that real quick. A podcast, hold on, actually, there was another reason that Carrie Ann had given for why the AFWs were targeting her so much. One of the biggest reasons that they were targeting her so much is because she actually stood up for binary when this happened to binary, okay? And that's why they began to target Carrie Ann, okay? And then, she was friends with some other people that they didn't like, such as Dr. Nikki Proctor Walden. Shout out to her. They had issues with, people like her, for very similar reasons, right? They just don't like who they like, and that kind of thing. Tend to be jealous of these women, these kinds of things. Anybody that's a professional Black woman, they tend to have issues with these kinds of people, okay? So that is the reason why they started targeting Carrie Ann as much as they did, okay? But binary then went on this campaign after all his smoke had cleared, okay? After, it's been like 3 years, after all, Anti had took her foot off his neck, okay? And, started targeting other people. He's had a tendency to kind of forget what he went through, okay? And is still acting this way with you guys in the beef sector right now, as if he doesn't remember that woman's big ass size 15-foot foot on his neck, okay? Like he don't remember that whole thing going on with him, okay? So we're going to remind him of these things today, because I want him to remember, why, he was dragging Carrie Ann for when she was, going through and experiencing something very similar that he experienced, okay? From the same people. I'm wondering why he would pretend with the beef sector that he suddenly doesn't remember these things. And these are such great people. And they are some wonderful people who do wonderful things for the Black community, right? Now, here's a picture of binary right here. So as y'all can see, this is a black man. Okay, I mean he's black. There's no, you know, you can see it. Okay, I ain't got to pretend. Now he got the little chinky eyes going on, all that, but he is a black man. Okay, there's no doubt in your mind that he is a black man. Okay, so they definitely target professional black people who are not fraudsters, because unless there's something I don't know, Binary, I don't think Binary is a fraudster. Okay, but they most definitely attacked him like they did, and Binary, being in his troll bag, wanted to attack Carrie Ann in the same ways. And so I had to come back and I had to remind this nigga like of who the people was that did this to Carrie, also did this to him. And I see I'm gonna have to do this again today, since this nigga not only the other day was doing this, but also did this morning as well. Now, I had a conversation with somebody after his show the other day, and I was pretty perturbed after that conversation, right? And I was trying to tell the friend, you know, like, I didn't like this shit. And the person gave me a different perspective. What they said was, and I had shared this with some people the other night, what they said was that it appeared that Binary was attempting to bait our sector into getting up on his panel so that we can tell the real truth, okay? Like he wanted to tell all these fake, you know, phony stories about the AFWs so that we could be triggered enough to hop on the panel and be like, hell no, nigga, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. They called your job, they did this, they did that, all this other stuff, right? To kind of like remind him of all these things. But really, these are things he really wanted to say, but he didn't say them because he doesn't want to be targeted again, right? I wanted to believe that after that conversation with my friend. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. You know what I'm saying? Like, after all, I could see why, after the way that they relentlessly went after him in Stargate, right? I could see exactly why, you know, he wouldn't want to be targeted again. I could see why he wouldn't want to put his family at risk like this again, right? The way that Anti did this to him before. So I could see, okay, him doing that. But I would definitely be able to see it if after that conversation, he didn't talk about it anymore. But today he went back, okay? Today he went back on that and brought this up again and brought these people up, especially Anti, up in this light as if she was this wonderful person, this good woman who has done nothing but support and protect the Black community. The same gaslighting that he did with us Black women, telling us about these Asian bitches, right? These 3 Asian bitches who wanted to come tell us what it's like to be a strong Black woman and what that means. Over 200 Black women's opinions from some town in Louisiana, okay? This is what he wanted to do. This was the gaslighting that I was getting. This was the level of boiling that my blood started doing when I heard this nigga talking this shit this morning. So let's go ahead, son, and remind you of what really happened with the anti-Afro-Sfingalis of them and the AFWs and you, okay? And y'all can get this for free, all right? Y'all ain't got to pay me behind the paywall for this. Now, whether he wants to tell his side of the story behind the paywall, that's on him. I will be there to pay you to listen to your side of it, okay? I will not share what you said, okay? I might talk about it, but I ain't going to share it, okay? But I'm going to tell the people for free what happened to you today, okay? And shout out to y'all for the super chats. Definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Redbone for the $5 super chat. Let's go, T Priest. Stay on his neck. You know it. And for Slewfoot Slim, I appreciate the $9.99 super sticker. All right, guys, let's get into this now because, you know, we're not about to play these games with this nigga, okay? I'm really sick and tired of the game plan and all the bullshit, okay? But yes, y'all, I absolutely believe he's setting y'all up. And the reason why is because, like I said, I'm not going to sit around and watch somebody purposely run into a burning building, knowing that the building is burning down, okay? But let's go ahead and let's listen to him. Let's listen to this video real quick of what I said to him just a few months ago. Unlisted the video on YouTube. The video is still available online, okay? And I'll put a link to it in my description box so you guys can look at it for yourselves, okay? But I really thought that, again, it
Person
was
has now
very
private in
important
the video.
to discuss
So,
this. I'm going to go ahead and end that part of it right there. I do have some more stuff I want to show you guys, but let's discuss this just a little bit, because this is the part that Binary doesn't understand about why people have come to the conclusion that they have in regards to him. Okay. And, you know, why people are looking at him funny and sideways now with what he's saying about Rev G's TikTok. Okay. Because for some reason in his mind, he thought it was smart for him to jump out the window and claim Rev G's TikTok is normal behavior. Okay. The same way that he thought. All right. So Beef Sector, let me give y'all a little bit of what's going on with the Rev G TikTok. So Rev G has been known to follow multiple children under the age of 13 and 12. We got 12, 13-year-olds on TikTok that he is following that are unaware of him following them. And there are hundreds of them, okay? We literally did about, I think, 3 videos on this. So there is actual proof and evidence of this. This is not a slandering Rev G or any of that. And maybe one day I just might show that shit again, okay? Because I do have one of those videos on private. Another person in the sector has that video as well. And there's another person in the sector that has a copy of a video like this as well. So do not be fooled by these fools, okay? Yes, Rev G is most definitely doing that. And at the time, Binary, this dude, this black guy, right? This 75% black guy, right? He was actually standing up for Rev G, right? Now, mind y'all, right before this, I was showing the people a video of where Binary was talking about touching like 3 women who didn't want to be touched by him. Okay, these are the kinds of things that this creep likes to do, allegedly, right? Not allegedly, but according to him, okay? But these are the things that he likes to stand up for, okay? So he stands up for this type of behavior and then, you know, wonders why people side-eye him, okay? So we're going to go ahead and finish out what we were talking about in this video. I just wanted to give you guys a side eye or a heads up to what we were talking about when it came to Rev G. But touching these women was absolutely okay until the alcohol went away. And then he realized how unhealthy what he did was, to the point that he had to confront his now ex-wife, because now this is Binary's second marriage that he's on, okay? His ex-wife is who he was talking about, and what he had to go and tell her, because these were her friends that he was trying to sleep with at this party, which, by the way, was not a swingers party, okay? This is what was going on, okay? Now, we're going to get into a little bit more stuff in regards to Binary, because I want Binary to be reminded of the things that he went through in the past, while he's telling Carrie Ann, how dare she still be online? How dare this black woman not listen to my 75% black and 25% Asian? He feels that the 25% of his Asian is somehow superior to this black woman. Yet he has the same position that she has at school, okay? And the same thing happened to him for his school. And I'm going to remind him of that. We're going to go ahead and remove this branding, and I'm going to go ahead and present my screen, because I want him to see what I see, okay? And I want you guys to see what I see as well. So let me go ahead and remove this, because we're going to go ahead and show Binary exactly what he went through just 2 years ago. This was 2 years ago now, that Anti had pictures of the people that are at Dr. Binary's school, you know, that are part of the school board on the thumbnail, just like she did with those people in Tucker, right? Just like she did with DeKalb County. This is the same behavior that she did then. Let's play a little bit of this, a little bit of these things under fair use. Let me go ahead and start with this one. It says Binary Code prompted reminders, the origins of Black people. Well, you know, we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to do Binary's castaways race attacks complaints, okay? Anti-Afro is moving forward with complaints against Binary Code, his race and gender attacks, with all laws, regulations, and policies applicable to education. Let's take a look at this one real quick. and fair use. We're going to watch as much as we can stomach of AAS.
Are you using us as subjects? Well, you need to let us know that we're a subject.
Thank you,
But
David.
okay,
I can agree. Okay, I can.
Let me say this.
Okay.
This is the issue. This is an ethical thing. That's an ethical dilemma that this brother got himself into. He actually is acting like a subject. He's not acting like.
I want you to remember
like a
Binary, what you
researcher.
went through.
That's the problem. You're supposed to be completely objective. You're supposed to be unemotional about things. You shouldn't even get upset. You should not care what somebody do or say. Your whole premise is not to do things to support. Let's say right now he's in the defensive because AAS is on his ass and so forth. He shouldn't even care about that. His main job should primarily be collect the data that AAS is saying. Collect the data that Shaka Ardita is saying. It shouldn't be morning monologues, upset and mad and crying and praying. That's not
informed. Let's talk about consent because
I was agreeing with that point.
Informed consent. If you know you're being signed up for a study to be studied and quantified as far as what triggers you, as far as what bothers you, what presses your buttons. The only person that's qualified to try to measure that would be somebody that's doing research.
I want y'all to know and hear, Beef Sector, the differences in Shakim Ra's voice then and Shakim Ra's voice now. Let's continue. Let's go ahead and continue, chat.
Okay, if that's the case, send me the fucking paperwork, bitch.
Yes.
And send me a donation so you can see what triggers me, bitch. If you want to know what triggers me about my childhood and my father, send me some paperwork so I can sign the fuck up. You ain't said nothing like that. You said,
this motherfucker.
Shakim,
how do you and Binary start beefing? How did that happen? How did that start?
If I had a problem with my dad, I would let you know. But I share information about my dad because it is what it is. Nigga, all of our dads cause us pain.
This was one of them nights that Shakim was so drunk telling us about the abuse of his father that he forgot that he told us this shit.
Why the fuck is that content for you to make fun of me and say, well, your dad probably still beating your ass, still causing you pain? That's content for you? The fact that I shared a personal life story. So he did the same thing when we unlocked. We unlocked shared a marital problem. And yes, maybe he overshared. But the issue is, where do black men go where we can say, this is what I'm going through, this is how I feel about it, and this is what it is?
I rest my
case. Why does it always be a research paper or a fucking experiment every time a black man is in
Don't
pain?
ever say T-Pre is lying about that again.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
I'm giving him too much credit for calling it a damn research paper.
Anti-Afro-Singhalese. Hey, everyone. I am doing this video because people are not going to stop sending me emails and text messages unless I say something. So here I'm going to say something. I have nothing to do with anything that Binary Castaway Code has going on with other people. I'm not involved. I don't have information about that. Now, what I do receive are clips that Binary Code is race attacking me and the black race. That's what I received. And then sometimes say, oh, and by the way, listen to this part of the video. Now, if it's something I can use in a video,
Binary, I want you to particularly remember what Anti used against you, how she really did talk about the truth, but she definitely stretched the truth on you. And she put this out to your school and to your school board and all that you went through behind your fuck shit. Now, Carrie and her story is not even 10% close to what the fuck you were into. Yet it was still wrong for her to contact your job. But we're going to go ahead and finish.
Binary Castaway has been involved
Since you're so
on
much better
attack
than Carrie.
panels. So it's kind of strange, although I don't know the details, when you hear someone like this claiming that they're being harassed. People can write whatever they want on legal documents. I'm not involved with that. What I am doing, I'm preparing a complaint to the school district based on what the State Department of Ed has instructed me to do when I called and got clarity on that paragraph that states they require some verification that an effort was made to resolve the issue at the district level. I have made no contacts with the district. I've made no contacts at the school, continuing to prepare that complaint. If you feel you have been in any way set upon,
Yes,
harassed, abused, stalked, anything like that, if you have a perception or a belief that this
got
is
an
happening to
injunction.
you need to reach out to law enforcement, reach out to an attorney. That applies
Exactly,
to
girl.
everybody. Everyone has a right to file a complaint and to defend against a complaint. When you hear
Sound
people saying
familiar?
things like, well, I can't believe she's a therapist and she's up here saying this and she's saying that, and she's not willing to even have a conversation, let's make it clear, therapists are not doormats. If you can't set a boundary as a therapist, you are going to fail, and you're going to fail in a very bad way. If anyone needs a sample, a model on how to handle a conflict within the system without getting yourself further entangled and facing additional negative consequences, you need to know how to use the system to have your issues addressed appropriately. And that is the model that I am showing. It doesn't require that I talk to an enemy who trashes my race. And yes, Binary Castaway Code trashes the Black race, which I am a member of, with derogatory,
Which, mind you, she don't have no problem with her
demeaning,
calling us nigger bitches, though.
vile, stereotypical, Klan-esque terms, KKK Klan-esque terms. It's not my issue to figure out why Binary Castaway.
So I did want to stop it there real quick just to comment on that. She absolutely has no issue with being in bed with people such as the likes of Stargate, who has no problem calling us black nigger bitches, okay? I believe she may have said something similar to that over in the beef sector. So Anti does not care when it comes to somebody speaking, negatively against the Black race. She has a problem when somebody says something about her, okay? And when somebody says something about her or one of her friends, right, such as Rev G, then she feels like she then has the right to go after your job. Instead of just ignoring you, right, she feels like she has the right to go after your job, to destroy your life, to contact your family members, to contact your school board, to contact your bosses, whoever she feels, is going to have some kind of impact on your life, she's going to do it. And she uses government systems to look that information up. She had some friends that were in some very high places that were giving her information after going through government systems to give her that stuff. Okay, so while she's over there trying to convince the likes of people like ZX that, there was some boogeyman that was out here looking up information on Anti and looking up information on Rev G and passing their information around. No, they are the ones that are the top of that ring. Okay, grown folks, they are the ones at the top of that ring that is handing that information around, okay? Actually paying people to give them dossiers on people to attack people. Yes, sir, okay? So like I've told y'all, it is very important to do your research on this sector as opposed to just coming to some conclusions because somebody's loud enough from Chattanooga to be like, yeah, that bitch is a hoe, and that bitch is a slut, and that other person over there, they don't really like them in the sector, and they ugly, and all that other shit, and just believe whatever they say. Because we have actual evidence, emails, and everything that were passed around from that bitch, okay? Literally asking people to attack people and sending payments along with it, okay? After getting that information from government entities. Let's go ahead and continue.
The way code is doing these things. All I know is I have very solid evidence that what he's doing is in direct violation of school district policy and state education regulations. Now
I
am
want to
I
say
the
this
trier
real
of
quick.
fact?
I want to
No.
stop her real quick. Is there anything that you guys in the beef sector will roast with one another about, right? Literally roast each other, talk y'all shit, drag each other through the streets. Is there anything that you think would be worth looking up where they work, contacting their job, and attempting to get their entire lives ruined, including their kids, their wives, their husbands, including everybody's life over YouTube drama? I'm just asking, even if they said something that was super egregious to you, right? Or would you rather just cut this shit the fuck off? I mean, y'all let me know what y'all would do. But let's go ahead and continue. Because I wanted you to see the extremes of what the AFWs actually do compared to how Binary is trying to downplay this shit, even though this shit happened to him.
I am not.
Not that long ago.
I have a strong belief that I have a solid case because he just won't quit. He continues to make these race attacking comments. Yes, this is a model. The model is do not replicate the behavior that the culprit is perpetrating upon you. And that is a lesson people need to take away from this. I am not required to come on here on my own time and just take on the world and use therapeutic interventions all over the place. No, I'm not going to do that. What you see is me, the person, and how I respond when my race is continually attacked by someone who's supposed to be upholding a model in the community of non-discrimination. That's what I'm.
But again, you don't have any problem with anybody being called a nigger unless it's somebody you don't like. Now let's go ahead and keep going, AAS.
Exactly. Doing. There is no law against that, and it doesn't matter to me.
This is what this bitch actually put your dusty ass through just 2 years ago. How quickly we forget, sir. Let's go ahead and keep going.
What case Binary Castaway Code files or serves on anyone, and I don't even know the details. Information has been captured. So there's no hurry for me to get it in by this deadline. I am working on that
pause this real quick. Scandalous, you said so Binary did have issues with his school district. He said this never happened. What? Binary. I know you never told them that this never happened, sir. Man. Go ahead, Carrie. What's up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, Binary is a habitual liar, just like Shakim. I think the only difference between them, though, is that Binary is always tried to manipulate people in a way to benefit himself. But Shakim will lie even to sabotage himself. He don't care if the lie helps him or hurts him. He just like lying.
Right, which is what could be so detrimental to the beef sector, because he's trying to prop them up so they don't tear him down, and so you guys can continue to pay him and come over and watch him. That's what he's doing, guys. Okay, like let's be real. He wants to prop them up as much as he can so that they don't tear him down, because he is really in fear of AAS. I ain't gonna hold you, okay? And he has
he might be trying to get some cookie points. But the thing about Binary that makes him so scary to me is that Binary is intelligent and he's cunning. And I always with him, I always get the feeling that there's the play that you see him making and there's the play that you don't know, right? Because he's just so manipulative.
Right.
So I don't doubt that he has some other larger scheme he's planning on that we're just not privy to, because that's the kind of guy he is.
I agree with that, and we don't know, you know.
Yeah,
but I definitely believe it has a lot to do with not wanting to be on her bad side. Okay, even though he tends to find a way on her bad side regardless, because she's always going to pick apart whatever he says, right? And then right now he's kind of bringing scrutiny to her. Okay. As opposed to just shutting the fuck up. He's, trying to jump in the way and but that in itself, like you said, he only looks out for himself. He doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. And so he's letting y'all know, oh no, accept them. They're great. Go to their channels, watch them. Look, they're wonderful people. Everything they do is so wonderful, knowing that these same people tried to destroy his life just 2 years ago.
Well, I think
would he
much
want
like
y'all to get into a same situation like that?
well, I think just
Knowing
like
that that's how these people are. I'm sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, go off, sis. I think that watching the way that they've cuddled up to Remix and Stargate, it's obvious to Binary, just like the rest of us, that AAS will partner with people she doesn't respect or even like, right?
Right.
So I think that he's just trying to present himself as somebody who could be useful to them, whether she likes him or not. Like, I can twist the story this way or that way. And he's probably not wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he could be useful to them. And right now, hadn't been for people like myself and you and others that are being very vocal about this, he probably would, be able to persuade, some people in some ways that, hey, these are some really upstanding and wonderful people. But no, sir. Okay, we always got the evidence. Right.
I suspect, though, that, and I'll be quiet, I know you want to get through the tape. I suspect that anti-Afro Svengali, just like me and you, are intelligent enough to look at Binary and see that he's cunning. He's not Remix. He's not Stargate. He's not Rev G. Right? So his desire to kind of get in her camp by proving himself useful is probably not going to work, because anybody with any intelligence knows not to get close to Binary.
Right. And for the record, he did not lose his job. Neither one of them lost their job. But it's the point that who wants to go through something like this? He went through months of serious situations with this situation. He did, as Carrie did. And nobody wants to go through anything like that, over YouTube drama. Like, I should be able to call you a fat bitch and I'm not getting my job called, right? It's not that deep. And you're trying to implement these ideas of calling you a fat bitch is somehow I'm discriminating against a protected class, right? So now you're going to my job with this whole elaborate idea that I have discriminated against you. And now my job has to do a full-on investigation into what you're saying, when it turns out it was just some YouTube beef, okay? So that's what we're trying to say to you guys. So no, he didn't lose his job, but it's not the point. Go ahead.
Well, and I just wanted to add too, that to just show how much she's decayed, like mentally, since this came out. Like, there she said, the main goal is not to sink to their level. And she used to say that a lot. But as she was using relevance, she got more and more desperate. And again, she's been lying to these people, saying she has the lawsuits against me. But we know she makes up a lawsuit every year. Never manifest.
Y'all haven't even began to see these lawsuits yet.
and sue me for what? Like, bring it. I got lawyer money. Let's go. Okay. But she's like, that would be hilarious to be. I would use it for content and everything. That would be so funny. But like, she's put dildos on women's faces. Stargate, her biggest flunky right now, who'll be propping her up on the phone all day, telling her how special she is because she's so needy, just like somebody in y'all sector who's in danger. She was calling her Stargate, meaning she had a big. She was sexually degrading her by suggesting her vagina was big, calling her Stargate.
I get into that in this video.
Oh, okay. Let me show you. But yeah, for her to say she won't sink to their level, nobody in our sector has ever put dildos on any woman's face and made a thumbnail or done anything even close to that. Never.
Exactly. And we haven't, none of us are calling people's jobs. The only one doing that are people associated with them.
Yeah.
Like even Shakim, Shakim is, even though he's like their enemy, but they're kind of like those people where your enemy is my enemy and my enemy is your friend. But that shit.
Well, they used him as a flunky because they didn't want their names on that shit. So they got Shakim dumbass to do it from his channel. And again, Binary's trying to pretend like he'll be that type of drone. But anybody that's listened to Binary talk knows that that's not how you're not going to be able to use Binary as if he's Shakim. That's just not going to work.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start this video back up again. Let's go ahead and listen in, guys.
And I'm going to file that complaint. And I'm going to take the time I need to put the complaint in. Now, I don't have any concerns that I will be ignored. When people start invoking from a position as an educator, when they start invoking protected class issues, when I say protected class issues, when things are mentioned referencing someone's race, religion, national origin,
Exactly,
sexual
Riz. Seems
orientation,
like it, huh?
age, all of those things. Any
Now, I want to say something about that, right? I want you guys to understand that the concept of fighting somebody over protected class issues, if it was something that was really affecting your life, is absolutely something that I encourage, right? It's something that I absolutely agree with, okay? I think you have the right to fight for your rights, if it's something that's really affecting your life. For instance, if somebody is discriminating against you in opening up a loan account, right? Or if
Right.
someone is discriminating against you for purchasing a home, okay, or something along those lines, and you are being openly discriminated against, then yes, absolutely, these are times where you want to fight on situations like this. If me and you are talking shit to each other on YouTube, why do I even have the time to take or the money to put into something that's so petty like that when you have no effect on anything concerning my life? You have no effect on the people that really know me. There's no actual slanderous behavior happening where, something that you're saying is affecting something in my life, because that's what slander is, okay? It has to be something that you portray to
It
a
causes
third party
damages. Yeah.
that causes damages to you, okay?
Yeah.
So these are things that him calling her a gorilla, even though it sounds extremely racist, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's very disrespectful, is not actually affecting her life, that she needs to contact this man's job, okay?
Well, it's not just that.
Go ahead.
It's also the fact that, okay, I was thinking that maybe we should start using some type of disclaimer about roasting, because she literally thinks comedy is illegal. Like, if you wanted to fight racism on YouTube, there are literal neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups. If you think being called a gorilla is bad, if that's what you were interested in cleaning up off the internet, this wouldn't be it, right? Because people in our community might have some racist sentiments, like everybody does. It's real life. It's not play pretend, right? Like some people, we have these thoughts, right?
Right.
But this is not a racist community. We are roasting and dragging for fun. Everybody comes here knowing what they're going to get. So if these white comedians can go on Comedy Central and do a roast where it's even white people on there making jokes about black people. It's people making fun of each other for being fat, old, ugly, disabled, right? Like, it is literally called dark comedy. It's a genre of comedy. And all of us, professional or not, to some degree enjoy it, or we wouldn't be here. And instead of going off in her life and finding something she finds more palatable, she is really trying to force her values of what's acceptable comedy and not onto us and portray us as racist, which we are not.
Exactly. So,
when there are real racists, like, we have a right to tell jokes that you don't find funny.
Exactly. And again, to me, I feel gaslit by this whole idea, because, like I said, she will literally send money to somebody, like will send, God knows how much, but will send money to somebody for calling us a black nigger bitch. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you have no problem doing that, right? But depending on who she's calling a black nigger bitch, right? That's perfectly fine. But, how dare you call me a gorilla? Now I'm getting ready to call your job. I'm getting ready to make sure your kids don't eat ever again.
When they are more than willing.
Shelter. Like, that's what she does.
And they're more than willing to make the types of attacks that they couldn't make at work, right? Exactly. This woman's been calling me fat and ugly and implying that I'm sexually promiscuous for years now. And me being emotionally stable, I just don't look at it. I don't sit there and watch it for hours and hours every week, enraging myself, victimizing myself, and then trying to get revenge. She's mentally unwell. What was I going to say about the joke? I forget. Never mind.
Well, I want to say this, and then we're going to go we're going to go further. There is an actual lawsuit that was placed against her and a company that she used to work for. I forgot what the name of the company is now. It starts with an O, but I'll find the information, Beef Sector, and I'll make sure y'all get it, okay? But there is a company that she worked for, and there was a guy named Aurelio Rodriguez that sued the company for discrimination because of her and because of another supervisor at the location, okay? That is a known fact. So she is known to be very racist, okay? Yeah. And so clearly, that wasn't, and she got canned right after that. I want to call
Well,
them.
hold on. You know what? Not just that, right? And then I'm gonna shut up. But
Okay.
she is also, one of the biggest things that's actually a protected class is religion. And she consistently calls us demons and subhuman creatures like lice. And so with her working with families, I think it's way more likely because she means that demonic talk she talks. And she says it consistently. It's not a throwaway joke. Yeah. So I would be way more concerned about her being at work and assuming like dark-skinned Black people she works with are demons because they don't go to the same type of church or they cuss, or even if they are promiscuous or anything that's their constitutional right. Like she sees demons everywhere she goes.
Literally.
So who is really more likely to be a threat, right? Somebody calling you a fat bitch because they're expressing themselves, or somebody who literally sees fucking demons.
Right. Somebody who literally calls us the N-word has no issue with that even.
Right. And watches content they find to be distasteful, raging themselves up hours and hours a week. Like she literally is a danger to people.
Exactly. This is why, Binary, I'm having such a hard time with your commentary towards the beef sector over them. Okay. It's because of what has happened to you. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and keep going.
I'm gonna hop down because I'm gonna come and keep wanting to talk. I might come back up later. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for coming up. I appreciate it. Okay.
He references to those issues, and it's demeaning and derogatory is potentially actionable, and that's what Binary Castaway is doing. He continues to mention this blackity black, crispy, whatever he wants to call the people, and meanwhile, he's doing something else that I find interesting. He's inserting lies into the equation. He said that Rev G put on a blonde wig and was pretending to be someone who has attacked him. That is a lie. He's saying that I called him a racist. Where did I call him a racist? I said he's race attacking. And even if I did say that, so what? I have the evidence to back up a definition which some people are confused about. The complaint is going to focus on binary castaway codes on words. That's what it's focusing on. And I will make my good faith effort to address these issues with the district. And if I'm not satisfied, then I'm going to go to the state. I'm putting together a sound, cogent, coherent.
I want you guys to hear what this woman said. She said, I am putting together my commentary if it doesn't go through, if I am not satisfied, then I'm going to the state. That's what she tried to do with Carrie as well. Over YouTube beef, guys. Do you understand now kind of an idea of the concept of this? And I don't want anybody to even begin to act like this behavior is normal. I don't give a fuck what the fuck is going on. Contacting people outside of YouTube over YouTube bullshit is not fucking okay. I don't give a fuck what's going on. Now, like I said, it's not about being afraid of them, because as y'all can see, I'm not scared of this bitch, okay? But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you the truth about her. I'm not going to lie about it and pretend that if you don't agree or simply don't agree with something about her, or if you simply roast her, even if your roasts are horrendous, right? Because that's what we do in our sectors. We talk crazy to each other. If any of that happens, this is what you're subject to. This is what you're facing. These are the kinds of things that they do, and they will go to the ends of the earth to find your information to do these very same things to you, okay? Including pull you through court, including all kinds of stuff that is so unnecessary simply because you just want to hang out on YouTube. And it's always because you're in disagreement of them. It's always because of that, okay? Now let's go ahead and keep going. I want you to hear her out.
Professional complaint.
What she did to Binary.
That's the plan, and I will.
So you see how far she's willing to go, even back then, and what she's wanting to do now, right? When she's not satisfied with the response, when she's not satisfied with the outcome, she's going to go as far as she can to continue to destroy somebody's life. This is something she tried to do with you, Binary, and your family. She tried to take food out of your kids' mouths behind her not liking you, right? You remember now? While you're telling Carrie Ann, who didn't even do half of, or a quarter of, or even 10 or 5% of, or even 1% of what you have actually done. And you're getting up here and have the nerve to sit on some high horse and tell Carrie that she needs to get offline and that you have learned your lesson. Clearly you haven't, because you're still trolling. You're still talking shit, and you're still gaslighting us. You're still doing it. And you're still talking about Black women.
Will be following.
She just don't have a problem with it no more because she's trying to fuck with Stargate.
It's no difference what other legal case or issue Binary Castaway Code has with someone else. If you are concerned, listen very carefully, if you think you're being harassed, let me make sure I get this out, and I'm giving the reference numbers. If you feel that you are being harassed by anyone, whether it's internet, videos, whether it's phone calls, whether it's emails, regardless, you need to get the law involved if you think the person won't stop. Someone saying stuff about a spoof, I don't engage in those types of activities. And my system was combed through like you wouldn't believe. Combed through, okay? They got stuff I never even thought they would get. I mean, I didn't recall sending these emails, and I never discussed those emails with the authorities, okay? So obviously they had some sort of search warrant that they got, and they went through. So I am not on the radar for harassing anybody, never have been, never will be. I have a right to defend myself, and I will. I have not replicated a single behavior that Binary Castaway Code has.
Hello, Bertha May. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate all the new faces that I see in today. Shout out to y'all. Everybody hit the like button, please. I think this was a part where I wasn't talking. Let me go ahead and move forward a little.
Perpetrated on my race, not one. I will use any depictions.
Oh shit!
I damn well please. I do not follow Binary Cast.
I meant to unmute that. What I was saying is she has spent years harassing multiple people. AAS is always harassing somebody. I don't know what she means. She's not on the books for harassing anybody ever in the past and ever in the future. No, bitch, you are still harassing niggas. You spent years harassing Umar, Boyce Watkins, D. Durrell, just to name a couple of them. Now you still harassing Carrie Ann to this motherfucking day. You're still harassing her.
Castaway Codes orders.
Nikki, let me see your
I'm
transcript.
doing what I'm going to do.
Every day.
The Binary Castaway Code.
And this was a few months ago, guys, when I made this video. And to this day, she is still harassing these people. You can look at her timeline yourself and see for yourself. Now, she has erased a lot of her past, okay? But there's still a lot of stuff there. So you guys can definitely go look. She's just so obsessive compulsive, she can't help herself. What do you mean?
The anti-Afro Svengalis to shut up. He needs to take the first step because he's the one that is race attacking. He's the one who's trying to get me to venture off into other territories and talk about other people because I'm triggered. No, the triggering is already done. That's resolved. Now I'm going after policy expectation, and I'm going to hold the district accountable for their employees. There's one thing I actually do want to say, and this is relevant even without looking at any documents as to any case out there that's ever filed in any court.
We have a ball over here.
You better be clean.
Obsessed, girl.
Even relatively clean.
Talk about harassment. Because this is beyond harassment.
Accusing people of, be certain it can't come back on you with a counter. We have a system in the United States that is where we are going to get any justice if we will get it. If it is not going to be in the community, it is not going to be sitting on race attacking panels like Binary Code. And the final thing I want to say, maybe not final, because I'm going to do a video on this. Whoever is out there waving a banner for a cause, and you claim you fight for this particular segment of the population, you're sitting on Binary Castaway Code's live stream and making comments rather than calling him out, you're a hypocrite. You want to know the definition of a hypocrite? That is a hypocrite. It has never been about.
Exactly. Do y'all hear that though? If you're not standing on business, according to her, right? If you're in the chat room of a place that she disagrees with, she'll come after you too. You just heard it for yourself. Now go ahead and let's go ahead and continue.
Someone doing a video on me. This is YouTube. How the hell am I controlling if somebody does a video about me? That has never been the issue. It's what is being said. When you have people sitting on Binary Castaway Code's attack panels and they are waving a banner fighting for a particular group, but when Binary Castaway Code goes after that group, they sit there and they say nothing. Think about that, people. Upon exiting this video, I'm issuing a challenge.
That part.
$1,000 to anyone who has ever seen me personally place a hashtag in a video, because this indeed is going to be the first time. And that hashtag is, I will never understand. You know the drill. Buyer beware.
All right, let's go to the next one. Hold on. We're going to go to the next one because that ain't all. There's a lot more. It was a lot more. Nigga. I be telling you, Binary, don't play with me, my guy. Don't be playing with me.
Thank you.
Okay, I can agree. Okay.
All right, let me go back to her page. Okay, so all right, let me go back to where we was at. All right, while I'm pulling that up, I'm gonna let this one play because this is when Binary and Ra got into that argument.
The business is entertainment, and what entertains the customers is the sight of blood.
I just find it funny how this issue of race seems to always come up on Binary show. You are struggling with your identity, and then you have the audacity and use a study that was conducted by Asian women on Black women, and you expect people to take your channel seriously when you just trolled D-Darrell with the anti-Asian hashtag.
Exactly.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
Absolutely, yes. I was sheltered as far as learning about Black history growing up.
And that's why I have no respect for your channel. And that's why I have no respect for your show. Because you just said out your own mouth, you don't know shit about Black people. At 42 years old, you got a PhD.
I'm not 42, by the way.
You got a PhD in African American studies.
It's funny how the breakdancing queen wants to talk about projection. This dude gets mad because it's a fact that he was looking up bootyless panties on the internet. Man, I'm sorry, that shit was funny. You want to talk about six figures. And now you talked about how you're deleting YouTube because YouTube didn't give you $200, but you're Mr. Six Figures that still has to borrow $200 from his pappy. See, all the contradictions that you're showing just shows that you are a fool that don't know what the hell is going on.
I don't give a fuck if I made $1 million. If I'm missing $3 out my account, I'm going to get my money. Just because you're satisfied with a teacher's salary, you could never speak on me getting money from YouTube or anything about how I handle my money when I make more than what you make at 26 years old. And nobody looked up fucking booty pics or booty shit anything because I'm not gay, but I am gay. Hey, I already challenged you to 2 challenges.
No, Lord.
Oh, he just said he's
man. You are
he definitely was caught with the assless chaps, and there is a video of that, and one of these days I might show it. But there is a motherfucking video. That shit is definitely out here in these YouTube streets. And if I run across it right now, I might play that. Okay, but Shakim definitely was looking up some assless chaps. So, okay, let's go ahead and keep it moving.
This Negro said, even if they owe me $3, you broke bastard, don't ever come at me again, nigga, talking about money, bro. We saw them paycheck stubs from 2020, nigga. It's almost 2022, man. Get your weight up, man. Look at you. You moonwalking on the damn TikTok, looking like a damn fool, making all. Just don't even know the motherfucking lyrics. Shut the hell up. You need to be singing some motherfucking Katy Perry, you dumb bitch.
Okay, you're upset because my six-figure father wants to send his son $200.
Damn, he's six figures
Well,
too?
guess what? My dad can send me anything he wants to send me because he's active in my life. Probably something you can't say. And on top of that,
Oh my God, I got something on you.
Yeah.
I know this ain't part of the show, but notice how Shakim just changed up. Within the past 20 minutes, we heard Shakim dragging his father, and now his father is the most wonderful man in the world. Child, listen.
knows that I have a house, 3 bedrooms.
He be making shit up like a mother. Both of them niggas is crazy, yo.
My dad knows I have 2 cars. My dad knows I have 5 credit cards. So at the end of the fucking day,
Six figures can cover that, you dumb broke bitch.
And bitch, I could dance and moonwalk all fucking day because you don't know shit about black culture. When have you ever shown any homage to anybody except your Asian slave masters, bitch?
This Negro talking about he from Kemet and all that shit and want to go out there hugging trees with no shirt on, looking like a damn fool, making black people look bad and shit. You went and you hugged the damn tree and probably had no type of relationship. You stupid, man. And you probably had your assless chaps on and you went backwards on a tree branch, you nasty motherfucker. I'm sick of your ass, bro. Your dad used to beat your motherfucking ass. And this is the same motherfucker that's going to send you $200, you broke bitch.
You're not going to hurt my feelings by bringing up childhood abuse. Today, we're in a good place. Since you want to bring my dad up, Binary, where the fuck are your kids while you're on live 12 hours a day, laughing and giggling with Stargate? Where the fuck is your wife, bitch? Are you getting some pussy? Because it's obvious your Asian wife ain't giving you no pussy. And it's obvious you're not spending no time with your kids.
No pussy.
And it's obvious you're lonely. And the only thing you have to make yourself feel better is video games and sitting around on the internet worrying about if I'm looking up booty pics when you need to be fucking your wife.
Man, you a mark-ass motherfucker that's dumb as shit, bro. You don't know shit about the YouTube game. You've been in this bitch how long and I'm still pushing the same numbers as you? You are one ugly motherfucker with pimply face. Also, you herpes-infested motherfucking limp dick bastard. Let me tell you something. Don't ever come at me and talk about my wife. And then we know you ain't got no wife. Why? Because you get assless chaps so you can get pumped in the ass. I feel sorry for those motherfuckers that hired your broke non-dancing ass to be a stripper. They probably lost money. Bro, when I drop this document, we gonna see how much problems your dumb ass have with education and probably why you hate the education field. Can your six-figure father take care of that, nigga? Nah, he can't take care of that shit. Why? Because he doesn't want to. Why? Because he used to beat your ass and probably still does.
Bitch, never had herpes, never had no STD.
But you got HIV. His wife is Asian.
Pimples all over my face, bitch.
Asian.
I still pour more holes than you, and I still look better than you, nigga. You look like you're one genetic mutation away from Down syndrome. I have videos with almost 10,000 views. You've never done more than 1,200 views. You don't pull the numbers that I pull. I built my channel on my own. You suck dick. You got fake emails from Anti-Afro, and she called you a demon. And on top of that, you over there dick sucking Max V. And YouTube had to flag that ass because you want to pay people to subscribe, nigga. That's how you know your show is not that entertaining. If you got to be on live 6, 7, 8 hours at a time, nigga.
Girl?
I'm on live for 1 or 2 hours, and then I'm back off this bitch. And you don't even have 1,000 yet, bitch. And you built your channel off my name and D. Darrell's name, and you still only have 500, bitch.
All right, now let's go ahead, and we've got about 2 more videos I'm going to play. One is about 2 minutes, and the other one, hold on, one is about 2 or 3 minutes, and the other one is about 17 minutes, and then we're going to end the show from there. So because I'm getting kind of tired, and plus I got to work tomorrow anyway. And there's a lot more too, okay? But I wanted you guys to kind of get an understanding of what this nigga was, this bitch was doing back then, okay? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play this one too, because this one really should be seen. But let me show this page real quick because I want you guys to see what Anti was doing to this dude back then, okay? And how Binary, it's just mind-boggling that he would be trying to gaslight Carrie Ann over this shit when she didn't do nearly any of this shit, right? Like not even half of this shit was going on. And yeah, this is the kind of bullshit that she was actually doing. Okay, so let me And again, I want you guys to notice the pattern of behavior towards Black women, okay? The gaslighting of Black women that he tends to do around, you know, people of the likings of Anti, who have also attempted to destroy his family. Now, let's go ahead and keep going. Let me go ahead and show you guys what was happening at that time. All right, so right here, you guys can see, here are more pictures of people that are at the school district over there in Arizona, okay? Here's another video that she did and talked about the name of the school, Valley View Behavior Matrix, right? Went over here and had more photos. She got him up as the biggest loser. Here's another picture of somebody else at the district. Yeah, so she spent a great deal of time posting these people because she didn't like binary. And this is how dangerous this bitch is. This is the kind of stuff that she does with Roosevelt School District. She did the same thing that she did with the DeKalb School District. Now imagine, guys, if you guys were beefing and roasting, talking shit and going back and forth and dragging kids and dragging grandmothers and everything else, and then suddenly you wake up and your boss's pictures are all over your ops page, okay? With phone numbers to call them, with addresses to these locations. Imagine how that would feel to you. Now let's go ahead and keep going. So nothing has changed between Anti and her bullshit. The only difference, Binary, though, is that you were really involved with some fuck shit, okay? You honestly were doing a whole lot of fuck shit on these YouTube streets. Now, whether or not it called for her to go as far as she did, I don't believe it did, right? You know, I do think that you using your special needs students as bait would have been a major problem, and why you should have been, you know, why you should have been reported for that. I'm not sure if, you know, the whole idea of what she was saying had anything to do with that, right? It didn't. She used this whole race attack thing against you. When, yes, you were doing a lot of fuck shit towards the Black community, saying a lot of things about Black women, but I don't know if this really called for it to go to your job, okay? Now, as far as the children, if she had went and, you know, and said something about that, I could have a little bit more respect for that, right? Because you were actually exploiting your special needs children, right? You can't say that about Carrie Ann. You can't say that about her and her students and how she has carried her students. None of that has been the same. So why is it okay for Anti to be not only posting the people that worked in Roosevelt School District over there in Arizona? Why is that not okay? But it's completely okay for her to be doing this to DeKalb County District, you know, people. And Carrie didn't do any of this stuff. None of this stuff. Like literally none of this stuff, okay? But we're going to go ahead and play another one of these because I want you to hear what was happening. In this particular video, the thumbnail itself has, and I'm going to show you guys the thumbnail. It's this one. It's the thumbnail right here, okay? And this is, again, multiple co-workers at the school that Binary worked at, okay? And it says, once Binary Code Records posts and leaves up videos calling his Black superintendent and Black co-workers all the same names he called me, Anti-Afro Svengali, and other Black people on YouTube, I'll take the video down. Until then, it will be, as Binary Code declared, 2 middle fingers. That's what Anti's professional ass said about these people that work at Roosevelt, that work for Valley View Behavior, okay? Valley View School, okay? Yeah, let's talk about it, Binary. Let's go ahead and get into this one.
Driving me insane. I can never get a word out. You have the sexiest voice on the internet, but you just don't know how to listen sometimes. That's the thing that drives me insane. You know what I'm saying? Because this person, who I will be dropping a 44-page document on pretty soon here, this person,
wait a minute.
let me finish.
You dropping a major announcement. You saying that you dropping a 44-page document, like that's not just rhetoric. You're saying like you just dropping some proof about something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be dropping that soon. As soon as I go, because I don't know when's the next time I'm gonna go live at night, because I love my vibe that I got in the morning. But as soon as you see me going live at night, be ready, because I got a 44-page document.
I'm gonna ask the question: do you struggle with your racial identity?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, in what ways?
In ways where I think I was sheltered as far as learning about Black history growing up.
So you basically telling me that your mother, who is actually 50% Asian and Black, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
She did not teach you as a person that's 50% African American. She basically raised you as an Asian person.
Not an Asian person, but she didn't teach me about Black culture. No, not at all. Okay. And neither did my dad.
And neither did your dad as a Black man.
Right. Now I grew up with my stepdad.
So
and his stepdad
doesn't that make you wonder why this man always wants to be talking Black issues and about Black people and Black situations, but he doesn't even know mostly about Black culture, including from his own father, who's Black? Let's go ahead.
Y'all, your stepdad was what?
He was Black too, or he is Black.
So does that make sense?
Folks didn't provide any reverence to Black culture at all. They basically.
Does that make any sense to y'all in the chat at all? That two Black people never taught him anything about being Black. His mother was half Black and half Asian, and his father, his real father, was a Black man, and his stepfather was a Black man. And nobody ever taught Binary anything about Black culture? Does that make any sense to y'all? Can you tell me what sounds scripted and what's scripted about it? Maybe I'm a little confused, but go ahead. I'm listening. I'll wait for it. At all, like put a 2 in the chat if it makes sense to you. Put a 1 in the chat if he's talking shit. If he's just blowing smoke up our ass.
No, I mean it's through the house, but it was never. I was never sat down. You know what I'm saying? Like how I sit down with my kids. I was never sat down.
Okay.
This is anti. She always plans some crazy. No, this is one of his. I'm gonna mute that until it gets past that because she's always playing some kind of music. So we'll wait for that to go by, and then we're gonna listen in on her little video. Hold on, guys. Let's see if I can fast forward it a little bit. Final video. We're going to play this one in fair use. Okay. I'll just play this one.
Anti-Afro Svengalis, I am so glad I was finally able to get myself in a position to record this video because it is serious.
Now look at these people she's got on
here. Make sure we do not lose sight of the fact that humor always appears in every scenario. And sometimes you just got to roll with it. Even when we're talking about something as serious as I'm going to be addressing with you. I am actually responding. There was a rant that Binary Code went on. I was the subject of that rant. I'm very grateful that Binary Code continues to talk. That is to my advantage. Now,
Binary, I want you to hear that again. I'm going to play that one more time. I'm going to pull that back, and I want you to hear that while you're telling Carrie Ann how dare she still be online talking shit. How dare she not learn to shut up and to get offline? How dare she, with her Black ass, still be on here? Now listen to what you were doing in 2021 while she had all the people from your school district plastered all over YouTube. Let's go ahead.
Appears in every scenario. lose sight of the fact that humor always appears in every scenario. And sometimes you just got to roll with it. Even when we're
Okay.
talking about something as
Groper
serious
Chronicles. That's
as
what
I'm
we're
going
gonna
to be
call this
addressing
shit.
with you. I am actually responding. There was a rant that Binary Code went on. I was the subject of that rant. I'm very grateful that Binary Code continues to talk. That is to my advantage. Now, before I go on and give you more detail about what I'm referring to.
So Binary, why was it okay for you to continue to stay online and to fight back and to talk shit and to say the things you did and go on for hours ranting about AAS, crying to the sector, tears? You remember that, Binary? Because I do. I do. Yeah. See, why was that okay? See, it's amazing how quickly we fucking forget what the fuck we be out here doing while we pointing fingers at somebody else after they are now the subject and going through the issue. Even though Carrie hasn't done not even half, not even a quarter, not even 1%, not even anything of what you have actually done. See how quickly we fucking forget. But let's go ahead and keep it moving. Fair use.
I
want
received
your
several
dusty
phone
ass
calls
to remember
throughout the day yesterday. And actually, this started a couple days ago. A few people were contacting me saying that people are saying you're sending out all these emails. And it was kind of odd, I guess something odd about these emails. I don't have time to play games on computers. I'm a very busy person. When I
That's
have
a
the
lie,
opportunity
Anti. You
to
were
come
definitely
onto
sending
social
those
media,
emails and
YouTube,
breaking the
Twitter,
culture. You were definitely sending them emails, and breaking the culture is the one that broke that wide open to me, that you were the one sending them because she confronted you about it, and then all of a sudden you stopped getting them. But the other email account that you had was still getting them. Yeah. You were the one that told me about that.
postings. I take
One that you
advantage
have
of it.
that she
I
didn't
don't
know was
waste my
yours.
time playing on computers. If anybody wants to claim that I'm sending, quote, everybody emails, then
She's
you
lying.
should be able to tell me what issue are anti-fraud warriors right now addressing with Umar offline. What video is going to be dropping within a couple of days?
That ain't the emails
Because the
that you be
information
sending. You be
is
sending
just a little
them
bit
other
too soon
emails out
to put out.
putting up shit, putting up propaganda about
Now,
different people.
that's
You
a
do that
matter
shit
of
all the
debate,
time. I don't know if you're still
but
doing it, but
I
I know
think
you
it's a little
was.
bit too
Back
soon.
then you was heavy
What
on
is that issue? What is that
You was
topic?
doing it last year.
If you don't have that information, whoever's saying this is full of it. More people send me emails that I have a chance to even respond to.
She'd be lying.
So the vast majority of my email activity would be incoming emails.
You lying.
Not outgoing. There are a few outgoing emails, but absolutely sending, quote, everybody emails is yet another lie.
Yes, you're definitely doing that.
Another verification
And like I said,
that
breaking
Umar
the culture is the
Johnson's
one that put
traits
that
are
shit out
ablaze.
to me.
People seriously looking to put the attention elsewhere other than where
Right,
I'm
busy
going to
type,
insist it remain. Here we go. Binary Code posted a video where he was going on a rant about me. And I stated a second ago that I thank him for that.
Exactly.
And the reason why I'm thanking him for that,
I think that's slowly coming to an end, though.
He has given me more
Guys,
than
we do
enough
have 132
information.
people in the building. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. I do appreciate all of the support, and shout out to y'all.
And in fact,
we're almost done here.
This goes back. I'm not even really necessarily focusing, absolutely won't be on the here and now. Binary Code has been engaging in extremely inappropriate behavior for quite some time. And what do I mean by inappropriate behavior? Remember all of those times you heard people saying they're going to report me to the board, report me to this. People can report whatever they'd like. What people do not understand is in order for any person in any professional capacity, if you have a license that is regulated by a state, your discipline is based on legislation. If there is no legislation to match that complaint, the person will not be disciplined. Someone having a personal
is that
opinion,
right, Anti? If whatever you're saying does not match the complaint, there will be no discipline, Anti. The same thing applies to Carrie Ann, especially since there really hasn't been any of the stuff that y'all claim she's doing, the lies that you're telling DeKalb County, right? All that stuff. And shout out to Carrie, because they can actually be sent this too, to prove how long you've been trying to destroy people's lives, right? How long you've been lying on people and stretching the truth, which is what you did also with Binary. You stretched the truth. Now, there was a lot of stuff going on with him, but you, ma'am, went to them stretching the truth, just like you did with Carrie. This time, though, you told blatant lies to DeKalb County, okay? So we're playing all of this for a reason. But like I said, you told blatant lies to DeKalb County. And if the complaint doesn't match what's actually happening, there will be no discipline. Those are your own words. So now you can eat them words with milk, bitch. Let's go ahead and keep going. Eat that shit like cereal.
Green personality conflicts are not legislated unless the person becomes so out of control and steps into it.
What's
like
that make a change?
Binary Code has done. Binary Code has never even considered the ramifications of his behaviors.
Now, why do you think she was saying all that, Binary? Why do you think Anti had enough balls to get up here and say that about you at the time? Do you think it was because you quietly walked away from this battle? Do you think it was because you walked away and you just went away quietly and you learned your lesson and all this bullshit that you're trying to gaslight this woman with now, right? Do you really think that was the reason? Because I know that wasn't the reason. You were going off on Anti in the morning time, crying all times of the morning, sad, literal tears coming down your eyes, because this bitch had contacted your job and was trying to destroy your life. And you had to explain that not only to the school, but you had to explain that to your wife and your kids as well, right? This woman was literally trying to take food out of the mouths of your kids and out of your wife's mouth and get your wife to struggle. And then all that stuff you were trying to get, the PhD and everything, she was trying to make sure that was down the drain. Your whole life was flashing before your eyes while you're still gaslighting a woman for going through the very same thing. And mind you, she didn't do none of the stuff that you were actually doing. I'm going to need you to have several motherfucking seats, homeboy. Okay? Several. You don't need to get up and cape for anybody else out here. You don't need to get up and tell anybody else how wrong they are, how they need to shut up, how their friends need to shut up and their friends need to tell them about themselves and tell them what they need to do. None of that stuff. I don't want to hear none of that shit coming out your mouth ever the fuck again. Because every time you try some shit like that, I got some more shit in the chamber for your ass. And I mean that shit. Because what you're not going to do is keep gaslighting Black women. You love to come around and use that abusive mental mind games against Black women. And that is the reason why you're coming for Carrie Ann. It has nothing to do with what she's doing with her job. It don't even got anything to do with AAS. Because honestly, you can't stand that bitch. Okay. So I think that I've shared enough of that with you guys. I'm going to put a link to this video in the description box right now so that you guys can go over and check out the rest of it, because I think that was enough. I'm going to give the rest of my commentary on this, and then we are going to go from here. So that's the rest of that video there. You guys can check that out. I have multiple videos regarding anti-Afro and her behavior, and regarding even as far as down to where she was sued. I forgot the name of that company. If one of y'all remember, y'all can certainly put it. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But she was working for a company and was sued for racial discrimination, and along with other discriminatory things as well. So she has a history of being sued, a history of this kind of behavior, and then gaslighting and pretending that her behavior is normal and that she has the right to send you to jail or get you fired for these very same things. Okay. But one of the things I want to say, and then Carrie, I'll let you go.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to talk about in regards to the beef sector and in regards to that is Binary is still presenting that same behavior. Like this whole idea of giving you guys these mod sticks that make it feel like, you are so important. And, these same things, these same tactics, these psychological tactics that he plays against with people, right? Where you got to work harder, and in this space, if you want one of these precious mod sticks, this somehow makes you so important, if you have a mod stick here, and you had to go and fight the whole big fire, to get in, to be in on the in crowd over there. When in actuality, he's only trying to manipulate you. And he's been doing that shit for fucking years, okay? I'm not going to pretend with you, Binary. You and I both know the history of our relationship, okay? We're not friends, but we're not enemies either. But I definitely will tell you the motherfucking truth about yourself, whether you fucking like it or not. But what you're not going to fucking do is play in my motherfucking face, okay, with that fucking bullshit over the AFWs, knowing how detrimental they have been to our sector, not only to people and not only to me, not only to Carrie, but to you personally yourself. So what I don't like is the fact that you keep going into these primarily Black spaces with predominantly Black women, or at least you try to surround yourself with primarily and predominantly Black women just to gaslight us and lead us into the fucking slaughter. That shit is not okay. It's not the fuck okay at all. And I got all the motherfucking evidence and the arsenals in the world to prove it. Now play with me. Go ahead, Carrie.
Hey, yeah, I just think that rather than responding to, because I've been hearing a lot of chatter about Binary talking about me recently. And I think that it's probably because I went over to his panel and hopped on the panel, which is something I wouldn't have done like a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Binary is always playing a long game and a short game. And I was interested to see how he would react to me making that small gesture, right? And yeah, it looks like he's going immediately into like full spin and attack mode on me or whatever. Like he's attacking my physical appearance, I hear. And I keep hearing that he's saying things about my job. And I just want to say that, like, I think nothing could speak more to Binary's character than the fact that I didn't even like him. But when his job got attacked, I went full on, like, what did he call a strong Black woman mode, right? Like making videos, made a channel just so I could make videos to like argue on his behalf that his jokes were racist, but like we're roasting, so it doesn't matter. Like we all signed up for offensive jokes here.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he has felt no qualms of conscience that he should show me any of the same similar support. And there's many people, I have a brash personality, like everybody doesn't like me, obviously, but I felt like our sector was almost unified in support for me, which was really, for me, very, I don't really know the word for it, how, encouraging, right? It made me feel really good. Like I have people to support me in my real life. I didn't expect to get support from the sector, but I did. And it was a really good feeling. And there were people, like I said, you and I were beefing at the time. More I was mad at you than anything. Stefan and I weren't cool at the time. He stuck up for me, like a lot of people. And Binary, the person who I've shown the most support to when his job was threatened, he only talked against me. And I think that says everything people need to know about Binary, right? And his intentions and whether or not he can be trusted. Everybody already watched him play with Shakim and throw him away. But of course, Shakim deserved that, right? So nobody really cares that much. But yeah, Binary
let me address something real quick.
Yeah, so please.
So I was playing a video from a few months ago when Binary was running around the sector gaslighting Carrie Ann for still being online and claiming that he had learned his lesson and anti is not to be messed with, and you know we should all adjust ourselves and our behavior to her disrespectful racist rhetorics and racist behavior. That is the reason why I played this video, because the other day he literally went live telling the beef sector that they need to agree with Anti-Afro and they need to be in bed with her and to just go along with the get along, and she's perfectly normal and her behavior is perfectly normal. And no, I needed to break down to the beef sector the actual facts between what really happened between Binary and between AAS. So I think you just came in late and you missed that part. So that's what happened there. Okay, I just wanted you to know what was going on with that. But shout out to you, Fallon. I do appreciate the $10 super chat. You said we learned a lot today. Thanks, T-Pre. And trust me, I'm not one to be out here trying to throw everybody business out here. But at the same time, these niggas ain't going to play in my motherfucking face. You feel me? Like, you're not about to sit here and tell me, that the sky is blue, that the sky is orange when the sky is blue. You're not going to tell me that, it's raining when you pissing on me. Like, that's not what we're going to do, okay? No, we're going to tell the truth. We're going to actually show facts, right? We're going to show evidence of these things. I'm not going to just go out like a remix. And I've heard that he's been talking shit too, right? Like you saying this, you've been hearing here and there niggas talking shit. I don't have to get all emotional and jump up on these panels and cuss you niggas the fuck out like I used to, right? I might get up here and cuss you niggas the fuck out and drag you niggas and show your fucking mug shots for you beating on your mom remix and shit like that, right? I might do that shit, but I ain't got to do that shit. I can bury you niggas with the evidence, with actual facts. You understand? I ain't got to get up here screaming and hollering and going on campaigns to these motherfuckers I don't even watch. You understand? Like, I don't watch grown folks. So please don't send me no more messages about, I don't watch remix either. So don't send me no more messages, y'all, about what this nigga's saying, okay? But at the end of the day, I really can drag you remix, right? With actual facts of you beating on your mom, of all the domestic assaults that you've had, right? And how these are actual case numbers and evidence of these things down there in Chattanooga, Tennessee, right? I could do that shit, but bitch, you ain't worth it. Who the fuck? Like, nigga, you can't say shit about me. You don't have no real shit on me, but I got everything on your motherfucking crew, though. Okay, so don't fucking play with me, nigga. Don't play with me. These are the type of niggas that this nigga is trying to bring to y'all sector and acting like these are normal, regular people, and they're all cool, and everybody's great. Yes, look up Dennis Dixie in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and you can find out about him beating on his mama. Now play with me, nigga. Anywho, let's go on, because I'm about to end the show.
Well, he got some other interesting charges too, yeah.
Of shit. I don't just run around talking, oh, you're a hoe, you're sucking dick, you're doing this, you're in the dungeon. No, show evidence, bitch, because your actual mugshots and fucking shit is out there. Now play with me, remix. What's up, Eyes? Good to see you, girl.
Hey, what's up, T-Play? Hi, Carrie.
Hey, beautiful Eyes.
Hi.
Let me drop your channel while you get your point out.
Okay, thank you. What's up, I gotta get you a stick too. I don't know why you don't have one.
You know, I seen a gaslighting session about to happen, and I heard that we was monsters, we deserve this, and I'm like, I don't know if they got the information misconstrued or if they're looking to be a sugar baby and trying to get money from this lady. But I don't know if you could maybe
hold on 1 second, Eyes. Yes, beating up his mother and other domestic assaults as well. Yes. Tell me I'm motherfucking lying, Remix. Tell me I'm motherfucking lying. All right, go ahead.
No. I'm just glad that you was able to articulate this, and I'm sure you got more in the chamber if needed, because it was almost like it was about to be a campaign or a projection to make it seem like we were scared of this lady, like she was someone to be afraid of, you know. And I think the message needs to be sent clear, like, you know, even though she's trying to do this, you know, it's not like we are afraid of her.
That's where I was about to go with it, Eyes.
And projecting that into the beef sector, like, hey, you need to watch out for this lady. She's the bishop.
She's scary. She ain't nothing scary about her. Just don't fuck with the bitch because she will call your job.
Well, hold on. Can I interject, Eyes, and ask you this? Because we were going to go down the same road. I want to see if you agree with me. I think Anti-Afro Svengali poses like no threat to the people she targets. She's very ineffectual for all her huffing and puffing. She's never really accomplished anything, right? The people she poses the danger to are the people she sucks into that cult.
Well, that's the thing, right? So now
let me put this in the chat, just in case anybody don't understand.
Like, we have a couple new people that are entertaining her, uplifting her, putting her on a pedestal like she's the queen of the damned. And my question is, you know, is there a motive
fuck with me, nigga,
behind that?
You want me to put your date of birth out there too? You want me to do that?
Oh, girl, you being bad. Okay, it's gonna be that type of week. All right, go ahead, Eyes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No.
See.
Nah, I'm about to drop down, but that's the thing. I was just like, yeah, and you're correct, because if you look at the pattern, and we're talking about,
I don't even watch him anyway, Brixton, so it don't matter. But go ahead.
You said the pattern, Guys.
I'm just letting the beef have
so
their
these
fun.
people believe that they're so smart. So if you study patterns and codes, then you will see that she has the same outcode. So actually, the people that want to follow behind her, these new people, they are more danger than the people that actually stand up to her. Because what she's going to do is actually isolate you and manipulate you on a mental level. And if she finds out that you may deal with some type of mental, diagnosis, you are even.
Hey, Brooke, what's going on, girl?
You went out.
I say that I do see some vulnerabilities there.
Yeah,
that could be exploited.
Yes.
So with that being said, I'm gonna drop down. But shout out to you, T Priest. Shout out to you, Carrie. And I'm gone.
You too, Eyes. Good to see you.
Shout out for coming up, Eyes. I'm about to end the show, so give me your final words. You don't have to be quick, but you can give your final words.
Yeah, thanks. No, I mean, she kind of took the words out of my mouth. Like, this woman, if you let AAS tell it, I was gonna get sued. I'm getting sued right now, even though she know where I live. I don't know where these papers are. I don't know what she's suing me for, but I would certainly love to pull out them dick pics she put on the internet in court. Like, let's go, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. T Pre was supposed to get sued. I was supposed to get arrested by the DEA and the FBI. I was supposed to lose my license. What else was supposed to happen?
You were supposed to, the FBI was supposed to come get your guns, girl.
Right, the DEA, right, all that shit. So, I mean, like she said, I faced no disciplinary action. I think, and I'm not sure, Binary faced some disciplinary action, but it was nothing. Like, people get disciplinary action for being late to work. Like, these victories she calls are nonsense. But to the people who she sucked in, the people who are susceptible to her compliments and flattery, these people have suffered like serious psychological harm.
Right.
And it's evidenced by them once having like a lot of friends and being popular and have a popping channel. And now they just go around like crying and moaning and harassing people and crying victim. One of these, Stargate is one of her victims. Stargate give the same speech every day.
Yep. It's like, I want y'all to pay attention. Like, we don't have to make this shit up. Just pay attention to her. Just listen to her. Go
Well, she is
listen
like
to
a
what she
shell
said.
of her former self. She's like a
She
husk of
is.
a person. She used to have a whole personality and it was likable. People liked her. And now
Mhm.
she's just universally annoying and she's always making up stories and she repeats them over and over to herself. You wanted my kids to get molested. You wanted my kids to get molested. She's like a fucking parrot.
And
Right?
I want y'all to know what that story is about, okay? So Stargate does have this tendency to run around saying that all the women in our sector told her, including Carrie, told her that we wanted her children to be M-worded, okay, or S-abused, right? Nobody ever said that. What was said to her is because she was standing up for binary when he was running around telling us that, you know, it was okay for him to be groping these women without their permission, which you guys have heard that story ad nauseum at this point. But she was running around like literally windmilling over it being perfectly okay for him to be groping these women. And we were questioning her about, would this be okay for your daughters, right? If some man was doing something like this, because her daughters, by the way, y'all, are adults, okay? One is like almost 30 and the other one is like 21 or 22 or something along those lines, okay? Her daughters are not little kids. So we were asking her, like, would this be okay if a man was running around groping your daughters, right? And, you know, and without their permission. And she kept like skipping over that and pretending that that wasn't even said, you know what I mean? And just saying, well, it's okay. And just coming up with all these excuses.
Yes, she was.
Binary.
Right.
And so that is why the women were saying, well, you're the type of mother that would allow something to happen to your children, right? You're the type of person that would, if something happened to your kid, you would make an excuse for that shit.
Yeah.
You would run around and say that shit's okay. And she literally took those words and twisted that and said now that all the women in the sector are saying we want her kids to get molested. That's where she
actually, you might not know this, but she admitted that on Lemons when she was up there nagging me about Photon. Why she's so concerned with my online pretend relationship, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? But she just be following me around asking me about my pretend love life. Like, hey, not have an imaginary boyfriend. Why are you bothering me, lady?
Right, exactly.
But she's obsessed to try to level me down to her level, and it's like it's whatever. But she admitted that she knew that we didn't say that. But
okay,
yeah,
I'm glad she did admit that shit. Because
but she still repeated it again since then. That's what I mean. They broke her brain. She's literally brainwashed. It's like they dumped out her brain, put it in some Tide, scrubbed all the wrinkles out of it, and put it back in smooth. You know what I mean? And she's like a parrot stuck on that. And she's not the only one. I'm guessing that Rev G at one point had a personality, but now he repeats the same victim narrative over and over and over again. And people think that like it's funny how it's really only the women I've seen, some women in the B sector. I warned them about this and they acting like I threaten them. And it's like, I don't go around destroying people's brains. I don't go around calling people's jobs. If I roast you, I'm gonna tell you I roasted you for fun. Like, I'm not trying to manipulate you. I'm just talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how I'm manipulating you when I'm like, you know, I picked that fight on purpose because I wanted to roast you. Like, that's what happened, you know? But you want to keep talking about I'm a threat. Meanwhile, it's a nigga scamming you right in your face and laughing in your face about it. But some of these men, some women are just mammies. They gonna be mammies.
Exactly.
Another black woman is always gonna be a problem, or she doing too much, or she thinks she all that. Like, we can't have no self-esteem without certain types of women getting mad, right? But a man can come breezing in there lying about having degrees and houses and money and jobs, and he's so cute.
So I do want to give a final thought, and I actually want to end the show.
Okay.
No, did you have anything final you want to say before I do that?
No, just that, she's more of a danger to the people she's sucking up to. Please try to protect your friends if you see them getting close to these people. This is not a joke. They are really a cult, and like anybody could kind of be sucked in. And then secondly, like, if I remember what I wanted to say. T-Pri is the best female content creator in our space, and Ray Triggs is the best male content creator.
I don't think that, but thank you.
She being humble, but it's true. On a number of levels, she's the best. So if y'all want to get to know our sector, and we are pretty cool, whether people want to act all weird about us coming around or not, we have a lot to offer. So I just want to recommend those two channels, and I'm gonna hop down. Thanks, babe.
All right, thanks for coming up, Carrie. I appreciate your input today on the political conversation as well as this binary code conversation trying to deceive the beef sector. You said, Code, I just did a lot of research sitting through this live. You have a lot of skeletons in your closet, sir. Shall, and he does. You said it's all a part of the plan until someone sets up an interview with the school principal. You said, let's talk about that, Miss Stangs. You said, jealous of you, Carrie. You said the bird is jealous of you, Carrie. Absolutely, she is. If anyone wants to see one of the many episodes in which Binary was confronted on SA Talk and using kids, see Germ on the board. 1 hour and 3 minutes, 3 hours, I don't know, kickbacks show, get it off your chest. If one of the mods has that, you guys can put that in the chat. You said, no, I don't, Jay Dunn. Jay Dunn, nothing was said today about me that I have not mentioned. Whatever, Binary. That's actually not true because you've been very deceptive to the beef sector in regards to the AFWs, okay? In regards to what they really stand for. Conscious, I'm not bringing you up. I'm actually about to end the show. So I will see you on the next video. So you'll have to drop down because I'm not bringing anybody else up today. I'm actually ending the show. You said, so you need to be more, upfront about what you're really doing. So Happy Life, I'm also not going to bring you up either. I am ending the show now. If you guys want to come up, y'all should have came up a couple minutes ago. I just had a couple people up here, but I'm ending the show. I've been on here almost 4 hours, okay? So I'm done today. So you guys can come back at another time, and I will see you at another time. But I appreciate you guys attempting to come up, but we can do this another time. Okay. But either way, yeah. So you have to stop with the lies with what you're doing and trying to deceive the beef sector, because that is what you're definitely doing. Okay. You're not being upfront with them about how dangerous these people are if you decide to get in bed and in cahoots with them. Okay, you're not. And, that's unfortunate for you. And you tend to have a history of downplaying shit, when it comes through to black people, black women in particular. You said, what is Ray Triggs' channel? There is a link to it somewhere in the description box. If one of the mods can grab that and throw that in there, I would appreciate that. You said, talent, you have to be the school principal. You said, if anyone wants to see the episodes in which Binary was confronted with the SA Talk using kids, see Germ on the board, kickback show, get it off your chest, okay? And Big Beasley says, Binary, wow, you are a fucking creep. Oh, y'all make sure y'all watch your words in the chat. You can say them on the panel. Just make sure when you're spelling, you watch how you're spelling it. Just kind of off spell it. You said, talented. Can you believe Binary, dude? You said, Beasley, yeah, very eye-opening. Just a damn shame. What's up, Chakra King Black? I appreciate you being in the building. Conscious, you said, please, could I talk? Not today. You have your own channel. Go over there and talk about it. You said, salute T Pre. I appreciate you, Smoke, for being in the building. Make sure you red ball because I was talking about you and Tupac, man. But I appreciate you if you just came in. Oh, you said you already been here. Okay. Thank you. You said I had to turn away. Just disgusting. Never trusted the Japanese since Pearl Harbor. Child. You said, Beasley, I hear they're paying people to set up interviews with school administrators. Thanks, Miss T Pre. No problem, y'all. You said, CE, always here to bullshit people about those people. And I'm not for that bullshit today. If you want to talk about the AFWs, you talk about that somewhere else, but we're not doing this now. And I probably would have gave you a chance to do it earlier, but I'm about to end the show. So, that's where we at with that. There go Triggs. Channel. Is this Eyes or is this okay? This is Eyes channel. And then if somebody can drop Triggs channel, then we'll go from there. And Germ on the board as well. Let me check the private chat. Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all for being in the building again. Make sure y'all do hit the like button on the way out. You said T-Pre, you done gave Jay Wilson some content for today. And you said I just have a quick question, Queen. Ask me at another time. How come when people tell you no, you can't take fucking no? Didn't somebody just tell you that the other day, CE? No, and you kept insisting that you talk anyway? See, you about to make me cuss you the fuck out, and I don't fucking feel like it. Now move on. We'll talk later. I don't want to talk about it right now. You said, I want my reparations from Pearl Harbor. You said, oops. You said, he just went live. Okay. And you said, well, there you have it. Another one. And I appreciate all of y'all for coming in. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on the way out, guys. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace, guys, and thank y'all for watching. Let me go ahead and thank y'all for the super chats real quick. Redbone, I appreciate the $5 super chat. Slewfoot Slim, the $9.99 super sticker. $10 from Talent for the $10 super chat. Brixton for the 10-pound super chat, and Redbone for the $5 super chat as well. Thank you guys again, and I appreciate y'all for being in the building. Y'all hit the like button on the way out, guys. And peace, guys. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all on the next go around.